Day 2 of the NFL Draft coming up later tonight, and we'll see if the Bills actually make a pick this time, as their first selection will be expected tonight. As they sit following 3 trades back yesterday, they are currently slated to select in the second round at 35th overall, and then in the third round at 66 overall. Rounds 4 through 7 will be tomorrow. The 49ers, though, will get round 2 underway at 7 p.m. tonight, and our coverage will begin at the same time. Nate Geary, Derek Kramer, and myself will have you covered throughout the evening. And draft coverage on this Odyssey Sports Station is presented nationally by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. And for more on tonight, do stay tuned. We'll talk with Sal Capaccio a little bit later on tonight. To the Sabres, it's a 2-1 series lead for Buffalo following yesterday's win. Now we wait a little bit Sunday for Game 4 in Boston, but something to keep an eye on for this weekend. Head coach Lindy Ruff, when speaking with the media earlier today, said that Josh Norris could practice tomorrow after missing yesterday's game with an injury. Paul Hamilton will have the latest for us at 5 p.m., so do stay tuned for that. And speaking of Game 4, join Brian Koziel and Owen Parker live this Sunday from 11 to 2 p.m. at Hamburg Tap Room for pregame coverage of Game 4 and more. It's presented by Neutral Vodka Seltzer. Keep it tasty this playoff season. Staying with the playoffs, 3 games tonight. Montreal hosts Tampa at 7. Vegas is in Utah versus the Mammoth at 9:30. And at 10, Oilers are at Anaheim. And each of those series are tied 1-1. And in baseball, Bisons host Columbus at 6:05. That can be heard on our sister station, The Bet 1520. Blue Jays have the Guardians in town at 7:07. Mets host the Rockies at 7:10. And the Yankees are in Texas versus Houston at 8:10. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Oslin down to the corner, far side, slides it in front, scores! Great pass to Byram, and he's tied the game at 1 apiece with 9:02 remaining in the second in Boston. Krebs can't get the shot away. Tuck finds the puck, scores! Oh my goodness, Alex Tuck picks up the loose puck and he rips it home, and the Sabres have stormed back on the road to take a 2-1 lead.
Al, a lot of great saves. Austin, welcome back.
Here's a chance, lifted to the net, that'll go just wide. Racing Oslin after it, scores! Noah Oslin's first NHL playoff goal puts Buffalo up 3-1 with 1:24 to go in the third.
Meanwhile,
The Buffalo Bills select.
it's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog on WGR.
Gotta start with the Sabres. Mind, you were 95% Sabres yesterday, you said, right?
At peak, yes. 88 to 95 was my...
You had a range in mind yesterday?
My range, yeah. And I definitely pinned the high end of it. Yeah, no question. I did not even think about the draft until the hockey game was over. And even then, I still watched Carolina-Ottawa for a bit until that finished. And then finally, like, all right. It became like a little bit... This is going to sound ridiculous, but like, can I go the whole night without watching it at all?
Like a fast.
You know, this is a point of pride. I didn't watch the draft. Like, I don't want to brag about that. That's stupid. I work in sports media. I like the draft, but I didn't need it.
You love the draft.
I love the draft. I did not need it while the hockey was happening, and then the Sabre game ended, and I was like, I'm halfway home here. I could do it. But I folded. I got there eventually.
I mean, I could remind you what I've done that for in sports myself in my life.
I know, right? I was thinking of
Super Bowls.
Right.
I don't have to watch this. Nobody cares if I watch this game. I'm a free person of the world. Right. I don't have to watch Denver-Seattle. And I didn't. And I made it the whole way.
And you're still here.
And I'm still here. I survived.
Controversial as it may be, you're still here.
Yes.
The hockey was, sorry, you had something else there.
I was going to say, I'm not quite you in this way last night. The Ottawa game was not my pivot. The draft was. Mm. But the draft was super frustrating because TV was 2 picks behind. The Dolphins were on the clock at one point, as I saw on Twitter, at 11, but 10 hadn't gone yet. Or 12 maybe it was, and 11 hadn't gone yet. Like, it was weird in that way, even worse than ever, I think. And Plus, it was not that interesting to me to begin with. Like, there were not that many interesting storylines with this draft. A bunch of linemen. All right. So I didn't care about it as much as usual in the first place. I had something else to watch. Mm-hmm. And then when I did turn it on, I thought it was really frustrating I know it maybe sounds really spoiled, but it just can't be like that anymore. You can't, okay, that you want to drag out the drama and everything like that, but it's just harder than ever to do that successfully. I don't even know that you can. So I got mad at it. And then when I went on ship chasing last night, when the Bills pick came around, or was supposed to, I ended up being on the whole rest of the night because maybe they were going to go, and they never did.
Right.
And we did a Sporkle quiz. I just, they were way ahead of even what my Twitter was on the stream. So I tweeted, if you want – did I say we're starting with hockey? If you want to be, really on time with the draft, here's a stream that, ship chasing, you could watch that. And it was even ahead of Twitter somehow. I don't know how it was possible.
I don't know how that works, yeah. I feel like if I say one more thing pertaining to what we're talking about, then we're talking about it. So I'm going to stand down for now. The hockey game was awesome. The hockey game was so great. It was so rewarding to see them get paid off for playing such a good game again. Unlike game one, which was, to me, a very, very similar game. Boston did not have really very much going 5-on-5. Their goal was, I don't want to say fluky, but I don't think Lions saw it. So credit to their guy for using Timmins as such a great screen. But I thought they were playing so well right from the start. And, the power play's frustrating, whatever. But I thought, come on, just get a couple of goals here. This is your game. This is just like game one. And, they did. And played with a lead for a while and managed to just kind of snuff the game out in the third period, which was really good. I mean, they only had to do that for a few minutes in game one. In this game, they had a much longer runway with a 1-goal lead. And even those power plays didn't even get that. Maybe there was one dangerous chance in those two power plays late, halfway through the period. Dahlin and then Thompson was later than that, 5 or 6 minutes to go. Just high marks, man. Just really, really well done.
Reminiscent of the second home game against Tampa Bay. The third period last night.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, they got the lead eventually last night. In that game, they had it, I think, to start the third, and just it was on lockdown. And, I'm not one of their dads, but I was really proud of them last night. I mean, a lot of what we've been talking about is experience and toughness and these kinds of things. Do they really have anything left to prove? If they lose in these areas, if they lose in Game 7 in overtime or something, is it because they never played in Game 7 in overtime before? I mean, I'm good. I was this way before Game 1. I was I guess I can't say 100%, but I was mostly this way yesterday. People at the remote we were at were asking, what do you think? I'm not betting Boston. I mean, I don't want to do that.
You asked me right off the top of the show, would you take 2-2? No.
You said no, and I agreed.
They're the better team. Go get this one tonight, and then we'll see about Sunday.
I won't deny having dark flashbacks during the second period of this game last night to 2010 or to 1989 or something. Just oh God, it's going to be like this. I mean, they deserved a break. And they got it. I mean, their goals were, in a sense, lucky. All 4 goals in this game, part of the story of each one is a defensive player in the way. Or even in all 3 Sabres goals case, I think, there was a stick involved. Byram's goal. Then, Tuck, of course. It's just his shot is deflected right away up top, and, that's a good break. That's what comes from enough shot attempts, and that's why we harp on all that stuff. And then Ostlund, too. Ostlund's kind of a banker into the empty net.
Yeah, off Pasternak's skates, I suppose, is
right.
What that did.
Well, I have this thing this year about, and those are not all the same thing last night, but defensive players. It's Middlestad on the tuck goal, I believe, not a defenseman.
I didn't notice deflections on either of those 2 goals by the Sabres.
Really?
Honestly. Yeah, I got to go back and look at them.
Oh, am I wrong?
No, I don't know. I just didn't notice. I thought Tuck picked the corner. I did not notice a deflection.
No, I think that puck flutters immediately from Middlestad's stick.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
We should make sure.
I will, when I have, I'm not going to do it now.
We watched the game on different networks.
Yes, right. Yeah, perhaps.
I might have gotten a different look than you had.
Maybe you did. Yeah. But more so, I guess more so the Byram play is the one I would say I didn't think about a deflection. I thought that puck was the same, like just direct line into the net. But
I should have watched them back.
I'm going to look more closely. But either way, in the Boston first goal, the Boston goal was a screen. He just never saw it. That went in clean too, I think, or just went through Timmins.
I don't think that was tipped.
Right, but it was compromised.
But you have defensemen, like, what are they supposed to do? I would only ask people that play the game, are you supposed to not reach out or not be in the way? I mean, the line of the shot between, the shooter and the goalie. I mean, there's got to be some
you're supposed to
element
be,
of that.
The old school way to do it is you're supposed to be sure. If you're not sure, then don't reach or don't go down to block it if you're not going to commit to it. And I think that's a problem with Timmins' value right now entirely, to me, is blocking shots on the penalty kill. And he's been excellent at it. I really do. I mean that. Like,
he had a few nice plays last night.
Yeah, it was not the easiest decision in the world to get comfortable with that he was going in. We had this, torrid affair with Metza down the stretch in the season, and it was a point in time where they're like, "Oh, he's rock solid in this lineup." But we always knew Lindy. We kept hearing Lindy loves Timmins. Really wanted to get Timmins on the team in the summer, and he missed most of the year. He's showing his value. I mean, blocking shots on the PK is a big thing in the playoffs, and he's got a bunch of them already. So no complaints there. He did get burned there. It cost a goal, but I think he's done way more good than bad in that area.
All right. Well, I want to ask. I've been waiting to do it all day. I've asked friends. I've gotten only one answer to this question that has, well, I guess technically 3.
Yes.
Possible answers.
Sure, yeah.
Would you ever go to Luukkonen tomorrow? Sunday. Would you ever go to Luukkonen for Game 4?
I would not.
You would not?
I would not. I saw, it sort of came up last night in the, the throes of the victory and even this morning, and I thought to sort of say something about it on social media, and then I thought, I think it's so obvious I don't even want to wade in here. I'm just gonna wait until 3:00, and when it comes up, I'm gonna say, of course, Lyon is playing Game 4. I think unless they really do want to take we're gonna get back to what we did all season thing out for a hard spin, then that's Luukkonen's way back in. But man, I thought Lyon was really steady, really calm, really good.
Me too.
In this game, so I would not take him out. I would expect that if he plays until he falters, he'll falter, and then you'll have the opportunity to put the other guy back in if you want to. So I think you're still hoping that they can win this series eventually and keep going into a second round. I would expect Luukkonen to play again at some point. But
what's the scenario?
The scenario is you win Game 4, you come home, and Lyon lays an egg in Game 5. And you say, okay, let's go back to the other guy.
How does that sound?
What do you mean? I think it sounds like I just said it. I think you just do it.
I mean, how does it sound? How would it feel going into that game in that situation where now, and this is if he's going to play, that's the point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's maybe a not the best case scenario necessarily, but up there would be that. I'm 3-2 up going to Boston, and Lions just had a bad game.
I think it's it's the same scenario we just saw play out here, I think. Right? With game 3. Luukkonen had a shaky Game 2, and you saw fit to make the change, and you did. And I think if you want to treat the two guys as equals, which I think we should be doing. I think that's how the fact that Lyon went in, he didn't have to go in. I thought it was the right choice. Ruff did it, but it's the same logic that we just saw here. If you go back to Luukkonen after a bad outing by Lyon, I think it's just 2 games further into the series. You know, the stakes are a little higher, obviously, because they got a chance to tie the series at home. So, you know, there's more pressure there. But I don't know. I think if you're going to treat them as equals, then that's one way that it happens. It doesn't have to happen at all.
That's 9 days off, too.
Right.
That would be what you'd want. I don't know. Like, there's always a but here. I think it's worth a discussion playing Luukkonen Sunday. Because really, that is your MO, is the back and forth. And we took a break from that, and Lyon was injured. Mm-hmm. So it was reasonable to do that. But I don't know if I want to just kind of count on, this is what my plan is, that Lyon is like, you know, A1 day after game after game after game. You could do it, but I think you do want to think about how much time off the other guy gets. And for Lyon, it's been, well, it was a good amount, but he got a game in relief.
Right.
That helps probably a little bit. I don't know. Anything in this category can be probably overthinking. But I have loved about this team that they haven't had a Ryan Miller or a Dominic Hasek or a goalie that's just like the reason for it all. Somebody that you can't, if they're not on, you're going down. Like they don't, that's not the Sabres. Mm-hmm. And I think what I'd want to do is just not forget that and keep both guys going. It would be a ballsy move, Luukkonen, after last night. But I don't hate it.
I think it's,
I don't hate it.
I think it's more possible that they do go back to Luukkonen than it was that he was going to play this game last night. Like, I'm going back to like right after game 2. Right, game 2 ends. Lyon comes in relief. Like, yeah, I'm pivoting the Lyon here. Like, to me, I was dug in on that. I don't know how easy or difficult a decision it was for them, but I thought, to me, this is the obvious thing to do. You've had the 2 guys all year. You've alternated. You stopped for a little while, and the other guy kind of bugged out here and gave up a 100-footer. And like, okay, let's use the other guy. To me, that was more obvious than using Lyon on Sunday would be. Do you follow that? Like, I think it's more, the door is more open to me, in my mind, to pivot to Luukkonen because of everything you just said. Like and how Lindy sounded in setting up the fact that Lyon was going to get the net last night. I mean, he talked for 2 days about their, how they handled their season. And the interview we ran in pregame yesterday is him talking, all year we've used 3 guys, and it's worked for us. And it's one of the reasons why, we feel like we are where we are. We feel like it's a strength, kind of stuff.
That's no less true today.
Right. So if he wants to really go all the way with that, then yeah.
Could you respect it?
Yes. It would not be my choice. I would use Lyon in game 4, but I would not be like, oh my God, what are you doing?
Well, if they do this, and I don't expect them to, Lyon is such the easy choice after last night because you really are pushing it as a coach. But I think you can defend it like we're talking. If you go to Luukkonen and it doesn't work out, I'm not sure you can go back to him. And I think you're a GOAT in the original sense of the term, the meaning of GOAT.
Right. Not the greatest of all time.
The world will kind of land on Lindy if he goes away from Lyon at this point and they lose the series. They don't have to, just lose game 4. But yeah, I haven't found anybody who would do it. But I think if you want, if the goal is the Stanley Cup, you have a better team than Boston. You have 2 guys that have been almost equals all year. One happens to be the guy with more wins and the better save percentage and the contract, like you point out a lot, like the sort of the bigger investment and not by a lot, but the better goalie this year, not by a lot. do you have to just sort of ignore that now? And I want to say no. I want to say no. If they win Sunday, Lyon is playing as long as they keep winning. I mean, he's going to just play them all, and that's fine too. We've had a couple of callers reference 2006 Carolina, both very strangely to my ears, as if it were, well, the one guy who called our show was literally like, this is an example of why you change it up. And that is absolutely not an example of that, because they only did what they did in 2006 because the first guy faltered. Like, it was all out of...
Yeah, they weren't alternating guys.
No, not purposely.
No, right.
They were just like losing, and they pulled their starting goalie a couple of times. So it's not like that would ever be the plan. Then I heard another caller today mention it as if to say, like, this is a teaching point in this. I don't think it is. In the finals, there was only one guy for Carolina, for what it's worth, that year. Martin Gerber didn't play 1 minute of a 7-game Stanley Cup final. So I think you only, and I think even this probably applies to the Sabres, and it has been true so far, is you're, even with the rotation over the course of the season, I think you're only going to see a change if something goes badly first. Would Luukkonen not have played last night had they won Game 2?
Absolutely would have been in there.
Totally. So right now we're just doing the thing that teams do when you give up 100-foot goals or whatever else qualifies as, one you want to have back. Mm-hmm. Like, we're just kind of playing it by numbers, or painting by numbers, whatever I want there so far. Hey, good luck to him. And I'm not down on Lyon at all. I thought he was great too. I mean, really good. I listened to the first period from the Boston radio broadcast. And so I can't see that. I'm not watching the game. I'm just driving home from our show. And the color, I got to find out who it was. He was really good. I could understand what was happening listening to the Boston broadcast from the commentators. And he was like raving about some of the saves that Lyon made. I also love, by the way, when Krebs got a penalty last night in the first period. I've not seen this yet. Yeah. But the Boston guy was like, what?
Yeah.
And then when Boston got a penalty right after that, he's like, well, of course.
Yeah.
Because the Krebs call was so bad.
Most people with eyeballs were like, what, on the Krebs play? It's funny. Did you hear or read what Lindy said about that?
No.
It's like, we were warned. I wasn't surprised he got a penalty there. We were warned that they were going to really clamp down on the late jabs or whatever. And Krebs got one more, whatever. It didn't look like anything, but the Ruff did not take the opportunity to say, come on, let him play. He's just like, they warned us, which was interesting because I could not believe a couple of the calls in this game kind of blew my mind.
Well, it's easier you're more inclined to talk like that for Lindy if you won the game.
Right, that's right.
You're not mad.
Whereas Marco Stern today is complaining about guys flying too close to Swayman's crease. Just doing whatever he can to hope for a 2-minute goaltender interference call.
Boy, Swayman was hot at that one. That was period 2, right? It was on the right where he was really worked up. The Sabres were all over him. But, tough. I mean, that's the playoffs. I will settle for that.
He left. They didn't get goals on any of them, but he had trouble corralling pucks at his in his feet, at his pad, on the ice, reaching to put the glove on. It was kind of like playing whack-a-mole a couple of times for him. So the puck
Zucker.
the puck was loose a lot around him, which is why the Sabres were making contact with him, because he was kind of sloppy. And everyone should know that's what's going to happen.
That was
it's not like they were running him.
No, right. That was the play where he got into with the referee's face.
Yeah.
And because Zucker was poking at him, and you watch the replay. I was watching on HBO or TNT, right? TNT.
Yep.
And because for me that's the same now.
Sure.
And the puck was never covered.
Right. It was loose the whole time.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can get away with a couple of jabs in there anyway, no matter what.
Yeah, even if it is covered.
Just like Swayman has the right to complain.
Really, what it's incumbent upon, it's incumbent on the opposing defenders to make you uncomfortable doing that. And that's why it's sort of funny to me to see the Boston coach, who made a big deal at the beginning of this series about how big and bad and tough and physical the Bruins were going to be, and now he's in the media going hey, stay away from my goalie. What? Well, it just gets Zadorov to cross-check someone in the face and not get a penalty for it, and maybe it'll stop.
Fun times. Sam Panayotovich coming up next. We'll also talk to Ross Tucker today. That'll be at 4. Paul Hamilton at 5. Sal Capaccio at 6. Round 2 of the NFL draft gets going tonight at 7. Lots to say about that. Bills are all about it. The Friday night draft selections. So that'll be fun tonight. Sammy P. after a break. Thanks for listening. Happy Friday. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Here comes Arvidsson, takes the puck at center. Lyon in the blue paint for now. Arvidsson to the circle in his right. Lyon tracks him and makes the stop. Alex Lyon coming up large with 10:10 to go on a penalty shot stop here in the second period to hold it at 1-0.
Okay, we agree on that, right? That was a save, at least. Didn't I see wide somewhere? And then it was like I don't know. I think what happened, maybe why we are not on the same page here, is because we did watch the game on different feeds.
He got it with the blocker.
Got it with the blocker.
I think if Arvidsson had tried to miss the blocker, it was going wide. Like, it was just a perfectly played shot by Lyon.
TNT has angles of the two Sabre goals. I mean, maybe the third one too, but
yep.
Byram and Tuck from pretty much ice level. It's a great shot, and you just showed me the MSG replays of the Byram goal, and they don't have that. So I want to find that and see if you see it the way I did.
I definitely see a player cruising through that makes an effort, either with his stick but also with his feet, and I can't tell if he gets it or not, but Swayman snaps his head around to look at that guy, 44, whoever that is on Boston. He just it has the look of like, either you tipped that past me or you screwed up my view, because there's a Ryan Miller dude there when the goal goes in. The Tuck one, Middlestad's stick is there, but I think he misses it. I think the blade of his stick, Tuck gets it underneath that, and so I don't think he got his stick on that one.
I don't know.
But I went back and looked.
It's end over end, the shot. Tuck. Like, he couldn't have shot it like that without a tip. We'll find it. I might be wrong, but that's what I watched, what I thought watching the game last night. Sam Panayotovich with us now, Chicken Dinner Podcast in Boston.
We're fighting, Sam.
We're fighting, and we're maybe, I'm not sure we'll be fighting with you, but, you are now a Boston guy. So 2-1 Sabres after 3 games. Are you into it at all? I mean, we've known each other a while here, but, hockey's not your number one.
I've got Sabres to win the series, so I'm excited. I feel good. Current math says there's about a 77% chance the Sabres win the series. Now, these games aren't played on calculators, but series price minus 315, minus 330. So Sabres in a good spot. And I'll tell you what, here's how sick I am. And you guys know this because I've done this many times since we've got to know each other. Like, I went to the Notre Dame Penn State game. I went to the Penn State bar when I had Notre Dame. I'm thinking about going to a bar on Sunday across from the Garden, not wearing Sabres gear, but rooting Sabres hard in a Boston bar game 4.
Yeah, we like that about you. I like that about you.
Right.
The nerve, right? Just the willingness, and just sort of getting some sort of sick pleasure out of it. I respect all of that. Well, minus 315 seems pretty serious. I mean, it's 2-1. Games have been really close. They could have, each team could have won all of them, I guess. But I like the sound of that number, Sam. Minus 315 to win the series at this point. Good. Great.
I wouldn't lay it. I wouldn't lay $3 in a hockey series. And these are very, very fluid and very twitchy markets. So let's just play this forward. If Buffalo wins game 4, that goes to minus 1,400,
Yep.
If Boston evens it up, we're talking about minus 110 each way. So that's just the way the cookie crumbles. I don't want to say that game 4 is this uber important game, but you got a chance to pretty much finish them off in their building. It's really going to take, I think the game 4 market to pay attention to is the number on Swayman's saves. I don't think they have that up yet because the game is obviously a couple days away, but he's going to have to win that game in the net. He's going to have one of those 94% save chances because I do think this Buffalo team can sort of smell it right now. And I think it's obviously their series to lose, but I'm pulling for the boys and everybody listening for sure.
Right. This has no impact on our Lindy Ruff Coach of the Year bet, but the final standings hopefully do. I mean, I said all along if they get first place, I think we're home free on our bet. Are the odds for that stuff still up? The voting has happened. It's all regular season stuff, so the playoffs have no impact on any of the NHL awards. We won't know the results for a while here until I think the playoffs are over is when they announce all that stuff. But are the numbers still up, and are we still sitting like at minus 3,000 or something?
Quick check right now at DraftKings, FanDuel, BetMGM. The only awards we can bet on, Conn Smythe. I guess the only award, singular. That's it.
That's
so,
the playoffs.
Everything's up.
Yeah. Everything else has been voted on then. That's why. Yeah, it's closed up.
Yeah, last check, we had Lindy minus 2,500. Well, not we had. We had 7-1 plus 700.
Right,
but the market,
right.
Yeah, the market was minus 2,500. And now that it's been voted, I mean, that's like the definition of insider trading. Like, people have literally cast their ballots, so you can't take legal bets on it when the votes have been submitted.
Want to talk, Conn Smythe, Bulldog? Have you thought about it?
I have not at all thought about it yet. It's so early in the playoffs. I haven't thought. Like I know McDavid isn't scoring like crazy for Edmonton.
They scored it all.
Right, but they've only played the 2 games.
That might make him a good idea.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I mean,
what does that market look like, Sam? Who are the favorites right now?
You've got 2 Avalanche right on top. McKinnon is 6-1, and then it's Cale Makar about 10-1. And obviously shop around. So 10-1 at DraftKings, 17-1 at FanDuel. Same bet. Wow. Wink, wink. Yep. Right? And he won it the last time Colorado won. Makar won it. So before the playoffs, I made 2 bets in the market. I took McKinnon. He was about 9 or 10-1, and then I bet Ottinger. Now, Dallas, as Mike and I talked last week about the West being kind of wide open. If you want to get past the Avalanche, I think there's a handful of teams that could make a run, but I think he's about to lock in, and they're going to finish off the Wild, and then at that point, you see what happens. I like goalies.
I like that bet because if they can upset Colorado in round 2, provided they get through Minnesota, then he'll get a ton of credit. I think, especially because of all the drama that happened with him and his coach last year in the playoffs. I think he'll be a good pick if they clear Colorado. Is all I'm saying.
I don't know how they win a Stanley Cup unless he's their best player. I mean, They've got seriously some big weapons up there, but he's got to be the guy. And I'm looking right now. FanDuel isn't even offering Ottinger. That's sort of strange. DraftKings has 50-1. Oh, there's Ottinger, 80-1 at FanDuel. If this is ever a conversation to get the best of the number, I mean, the Conn Smythe market is your perfect elixir of the that. All that means, though, Bulldog, is that DraftKings is taking more bets on them, and FanDuel is willing to sort of balance the checkbook a bit. But a $100 bet makes you $5,000 at one place and $8,000 in another. It's crazy that people don't get the best of the number.
We can't bet it. This is another one where not in New York. I'll throw out a name, Quinn Hughes. From what I've read from Travis, I haven't seen maybe any of that series yet, but he is a huge difference maker on the ice or not. And he had kind of maybe a blunder in the last game, but still, it's a much different series when he's on the ice versus when he's not. And it's still pretty close.
And the same thing holds there. Like if they can come back and beat Dallas and then beat Colorado, he'd be the guy. Like, what's his number?
I think so too.
Yeah, that's a good pull. You got a number on him?
Plus, he's famous already.
Yeah.
I do have a number. I also love that I'm talking about how much I love Dallas, and Mike goes, "Here's a Wild player to win the Conn Smythe."
I know. Sorry.
Thank you, Mike. Let's see.
I'm just warming you up for Sunday when you go to that bar.
Now I'm going to be a Bruins fan Sunday and go against everything I said. Let's see. Quinn Hughes, I see 60, I see 80, I see 100 to win the Conn Smythe.
See, it's different. It doesn't really need to be explained, probably, but it's different from the Super Bowl MVP bets that we made because this is the whole playoffs,
right? Versus
one game, and I like that. It's a fun one to toy with.
I would get lost in there if we could wager on that on our phones.
You would?
I'd be in there.
What's Noah Ostlund
with 3 or 4 different guys? Probably.
What's Noah Ostlund to win the Conn Smythe Trophy?
If you spell Ostlund, I'll tell you.
It's never going to be there. Ostlund. It's never going to be there, right? What would be the top saber? Thompson.
Ostlund. Okay.
He's
not up there.
There's no way he's listed. No,
he's not listed.
Fun idea.
He made his playoff debut last night. Empty net goal, and an assist on the first goal for Buffalo.
Good start.
Yeah, real nice.
Sam, what else are you into?
Well, I'll tell you what, the draft was interesting last night, and as I often do, I listened to the opening of the show, and you guys were talking about how, ESPN's like, the 8th pick is on the clock, and then the Twitter's like, with the 11th pick, Miami selects blank. You're like, okay. Kalshi was taking live bets. Now, they weren't like extremely live, like second to second, but when ESPN was on like the 4th pick, you could bet the 5th and the 6th and the 7th pick. And Kalshi waved the white flag after like the first 10 picks.
Really?
Yeah, because the insiders, if you were following like Albert Breer, and there was one other guy, maybe Josh Norris or one of the Schwartzes. I can't remember exactly who it was, but Albert Breer was doing this live show. And because he's not working on the ESPN broadcast or the NFL Network broadcast, he doesn't have to like hold back. He can do his thing. And he was kind of showing like, hey, I still got it. So if you were just getting notifications from, Breer's guys or from the other accounts, like you knew who was going. Again, Kalshi is working at the same speed as everybody else, like you can't really like bot that. It's not a technological thing. You just kind of have to be quick to pull the market off. But yeah, it was wild because they took, I think they said they took like, I should have the exact number. I want to say it was like $60 million on live bets last night on the draft. Yeah. And I don't know how they won, but that's how you get people in the door, right? Because they'll get it back. People are going to dump it right back. But that was interesting. And also, like, if you want to impress a date next year, just follow the right Twitter accounts and then just, show how smart you are by predicting every draft pick. Because you're going to get all the picks early, and she'll be so enamored with your knowledge of NFL football.
Yeah, you can't do that you can't win every hand. But yeah, you could do well enough to impress, right? Once a few, you got to dump it, so it's not too too suspicious. But sure, round 2 tonight. Is there anything up? There would be, right, on over under on guys and what the Bills do. The Bills have the 3rd pick of the 2nd round.
I have no idea what the Bills are going to do. That's something I have not paid much attention to. I'm going to be completely honest with you. And looking at the board right now. They do have markets up on 33, 34, and 35. So they pick 35th. Is that right?
Yes.
So favored to go, I guess favored, I'm using air quotes, Denzel Boston, the wide receiver, is plus 425 to be the first guy taken. Okay, cool. And then Caden McDonald is 2nd. Jermod McCoy is 3rd. Colton Hood is 4th. Those are your top 4 guys, at least at DraftKings, to go 35th overall.
The first 2 names have been names we've talked about for the Bills.
At 26 even.
At 26, throughout. McCoy, we haven't talked about him at all that I remember because he's injured. Like, he's somebody who could miss the entire season. So who takes him? It's, he probably would have been a first-round pick easily without that. Probably not what the Bills do because of that injury and, they're being kind of in the win-now mode. But those other 2 names... very realistic for Buffalo. I don't know about Boston for San Francisco, Bulldog. Getting Evans and still having Pearsall. Ayuk leaves. I don't know if that would be a receiver pick, but maybe. What's new with the White Sox?
They're starting to hit the ball. This Murakami kid is unbelievable. He's like the fastest White Sox rookie ever to 10 home runs, and that's another bet that we talked about on Chicken Dinner. I got some guys who will either text me or DM me every time he homers. That's the Japanese rookie who used to play with Ohtani overseas. We got him at 100-1 to lead the league in homers.
Wow.
I don't know that it's going to happen, and I'm knocking on wood right here because I don't want to jinx myself. But between him and Montgomery, the shortstop, they're starting to hit the ball. So we'll see. Again, we need 67 wins. But the White Sox, when they go west, and people are starting to tune out now because they're like, why are we talking about the White Sox again? We need 67 wins. That's all we need. And it's going to be a sweat for sure. But usually when the White Sox go west, they go like 1-5, 0-6. They went 4-2 on their West Coast road trip. That never happens for White Sox fans.
I need the playoffs. And that's where my focus is when it comes to this team. 3.5 out of first in a weak division so far this year. So I'm with you on your Chicago White Sox. Very good, Sam. I can't wait to hear how Sunday goes. Live it up.
I'll send whatever you need. I'll send some content. I hope it's 3-1 Buffalo after Sunday, and I will be rowdy in the bar right across from the Garden.
All right, see if you can catch up with the Buffalo, the rollerblade people. Apparently we've sent some rollerbladers that are running around in mismatched Sabres jerseys, causing mayhem on the streets of Boston. So keep an eye out for them.
Will do, sir.
All right.
Find a hat. All right, Sam. Talk to you next Friday.
See you guys.
Let's see. What? Game 5 is Tuesday. Game 6, if necessary, Thursday. So next Friday, we'll know a lot.
Yep. And then a potential Game 7 wouldn't be until next Sunday, I saw.
Okay.
So none of that's going to matter.
I don't mind if they pace themselves with this thing.
They're going to just wrap this thing up.
We'll talk about the draft some more coming up with Ross Tucker at 4. Sal will join us in the final hour to set up round 2. Paul Hamilton in between Sabres and Bruins. Game 4 is Sunday afternoon. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here at 803-0550. This is WGR.
So I'm going to stand down for now. The hockey game was awesome. The hockey game was so great. It was so rewarding to see them get paid off for playing such a good game again. Unlike Game 1, which was, to me, a very similar game. Boston just did not have really very much going 5-on-5. Their goal was, I don't want to say fluky, but I don't think Lions saw it. So credit to their guy for using Timmins as such a great screen. But I thought they were playing so well right from the start. And, the power play's frustrating, whatever. But I thought, come on, just get a couple of goals here. This is your game. This is just like Game 1. And, they did. And played with a lead for a while and managed to just kind of snuff the game out in the third period, which was really good. I mean, they only had to do that for a few minutes in Game 1. In this game, they had a much longer runway with a 1-goal lead, and even those power plays didn't even get that. Maybe there was one dangerous chance in those 2 power plays late, halfway through the period. Dahlin and then Thompson was later than that, like 5 or 6 minutes to go. Just high marks, man. Just really, really well done.
Reminiscent of the second home game against Tampa Bay. The third period last night.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, they got the lead eventually last night. In that game, they had it, I think, to start the third, and just like it was on lockdown. And, I'm not one of their dads, but I was really proud of them last night. I mean, a lot of what we've been talking about is experience and toughness and these kinds of things. Do they really have anything left to prove? Like, if they lose in these areas, if they lose in Game 7 in overtime or something, is it because they never played in Game 7 in overtime before? I mean, I'm good. I was this way before Game 1. I was I guess I can't say 100%, but I was mostly this way yesterday. Like, people at the remote we were at were asking, what do you think? Like, I'm not betting Boston. I mean, I don't want to do that.
You asked me right off the top of the show, would you take 2-2? No.
You said no, and I agreed.
They're the better team. Go get this one tonight, and then we'll see about Sunday.
I won't deny having dark flashbacks during the second period of this game last night to 2010 or to 1989 or something. Just like, oh God, it's going to be like this. I mean, they deserved a break, and they got it. I mean, their goals were in a sense lucky. All 4 goals in this game, part of the story of each one is a defensive player in the way, or even in all 3 Sabres goals case, I think there was a stick involved, like Byram's goal. Then, I mean, Tuck, of course, it's just like his shot is deflected right away up top, and that's a good break. That's what comes from enough shot attempts, and that's why we harp on all that stuff. And then Ostlund, too. Ostlund's kind of a banker into the empty net.
Yeah, off Pasternak's skates, I suppose, is
right.
What that did.
Well, I have this thing this year about, and those are not all the same thing last night, but defensive players, it's Middlestad on the Tuck goal, I believe, not a defenseman.
I didn't notice deflections on either of those 2 goals by the Sabres.
Really?
Honestly. Yeah, I got to go back and look at them.
Oh, am I wrong?
No, I don't know. I just didn't notice. I thought Tuck picked the corner. I did not notice a deflection.
No, I think that puck flutters immediately from Middlestat's stick.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
We should make sure.
I will. When I have, I'm not going to do it now.
We watched the game on different networks.
Yes, right. Yeah, perhaps.
I might have gotten a different look than you had.
Maybe you did. Yeah. But more so, I guess,
I'm starting to doubt myself.
More so the Byram play is the one I would say I didn't think about a deflection. I thought that puck was the same, like just direct line into the net. But
I should have watched them back.
I'm going to look more closely. But either way, in the Boston first goal, the Boston goal was a screen. He just never saw it. That went in clean too, I think, or just went through Timmins.
I don't think that was tipped.
Right. But it was compromised.
But you have defensemen, like, what are they supposed to do? I would only ask people that play the game, are you supposed to not reach out or not be in the way? I mean, the line of the shot between, the shooter and the goalie. I mean, there's got to be some
you're supposed to be,
of that.
The old school way to do it is you're supposed to be sure. If you're not sure, then don't reach or don't go down to block it if you're not going to commit to it. And I think that's a problem with Timmins' value right now entirely, to me, is blocking shots on the penalty kill. And he's been excellent at it. I really do. I mean that. He
had a few nice plays last night.
Yeah, it was not the easiest decision in the world to get comfortable with that he was going in. We had this, torrid affair with Metza down the stretch in the season, and it was a point in time where they're like, "Oh, he's rock solid in this lineup." But we always knew Lindy. We kept hearing Lindy loves Timmins. Really wanted to get Timmins on the team in the summer, and he missed most of the year. He's showing his value. I mean, blocking shots on the PK is a big thing in the playoffs, and he's got a bunch of them already. So no complaints there. He did get burned there. It cost a goal, but I think he's done way more good than bad in that area.
All right. Well, I want to ask. I've been waiting to. Ross Tucker coming up in about 12 minutes. This won't surprise you if you're familiar with my stuff, but I thought the Bills did great last night. Keep it up. I wondered.
Make no picks ever.
No, right. Who needs picks? Just get all the picks.
You punt the whole
and
draft.
Don't use them.
Get all a bunch for next year. We're gonna dig in next season.
Get to the point where you have 10 in a row, and then miss the clock 9 times, and then make all 10 picks at once. That I would like to see.
They don't have 10 in a row, but they do have 165, 167, and 168.
Beautiful.
Coming up on Saturday. So that'll be a fun little pocket of the draft. I wonder what they could do to acquire pick 166 just to have it. Jacksonville currently has it.
Shouldn't take much.
Right. Come on, let's do 4 in a row.
I wondered, and I didn't ever want to take this seriously, but 2 years ago is Coleman, and that hasn't worked out. And they traded down twice to end up with Coleman with the first pick of round 2. And I wondered if they would, in a year where I thought there were obvious reasons to do this, maybe they were not going to be excited about the possibility because of how that has gone. How Worthy hasn't been incredible himself for Kansas City. That was the other side of that first trade. For that matter, Xavier Leggett. But I don't know. I wondered if the Bills might have been a little bit spooked by that. I'm glad they weren't.
Yeah, me too. We talked about this yesterday. It would not be good process to be afraid of trading down because when you did it 2 years ago, it so far has mostly blown up in your face. I mean, really all they did was get extra stuff for maybe taking the guy they would have taken at 28 that year, which was Coleman. So I don't know. The only drama there was last night for me, I got around, was Dallas 22-20? I got Dallas was on the clock when I turned it on. I don't know who was picking because that seemed like it never matched up, the broadcast. And anyway, but
they traded with the Eagles.
It was close enough to where I was waiting for the Bills pick and here come the Browns and Casey Concepcion. Because that would have been interesting to see what the Bills would have done there.
For sure. Ross Tucker after the update here on WGR.
Day 2 of the NFL Draft coming up later tonight. We will see if the Bills make their first selection of the 2026 draft. As we sit following 3 trade backs yesterday, the Bills now are slated to pick in the second round at 35th overall and in the third round at 66 overall. The 49ers, though, are the team that will get the second round underway. That'll be at 7 p.m. Our coverage will start then as well, with Nate Geary, Derek Kramer, and myself having you covered throughout the evening. And draft coverage on this Odyssey Sports Station is presented nationally by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. And for more on tonight, do stay tuned. We'll be talking with Sal in just a little while, about an hour before the second round gets underway at 6 p.m. So do stay tuned for that. For the Sabres, it's a 2-1 series lead for Buffalo following yesterday's win, and now we got a little bit of a wait until Sunday for Game 4 in Boston. Something, though, to keep an eye on. Head coach Lindy Ruff did say with the media today that Josh Norris could practice tomorrow after missing yesterday's game with an injury. Paul Hamilton will get us the latest at 5 p.m., so do stay tuned for that. And speaking of Game 4, join Brian Cozy and Owen Parker live this Sunday from 11 to 2 p.m. at Hamburg Tap Room for pregame coverage of Game 4 and more. It's presented by Neutral Vodka Seltzer. Keep it tasty this playoff season. And then 3 other games tonight. Montreal hosts Tampa at 7. Vegas is in Utah versus the Mammoth at 9:30. And then at 10, Oilers at Anaheim. And each of those 3 series are all tied at 1 apiece. That's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
My dad's not here right now. He's still at work. So I'm going to bless him.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I'm going to see if there's a clean version so that my parents and the people at my school will not get mad at me. We've got the spritzer filled with water just in case if stuff gets too fire. I'm going to set up the speaker and I'm going to listen to
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I think this is the best
Mike Schopp.
feature that I've heard in a long time. I think his flow is really good in it, and I like his aggressiveness on it, and
The Bulldog.
put not enough effort in it. I think overall his flow was good, but I don't like that mobile rapping. That was my review of
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Didn't Need the Spritzer. Wasn't fire enough. No spritzer for you. No spritzer.
With us now, host of the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, Ross Tucker. You can check him out at Ross Tucker NFL. And he's also a loyal supporter and brand manager for myfrontpagestory.com. Here we go. We've got Mother's Day. Not that it has to be for mom or your wife, but it could be. And it seems like a pretty good fit, Ross, right? Mother's Day for this one?
Oh, my gosh. Well, first of all, I know we're going to talk about the NFL draft. There is no better draft pick than your mom or your wife. I mean, think about it, like in everybody's life, the number one pick is your mom or your wife. So get them the number one gift for Mother's Day you could ever get them. You said it, Mike. It's myfrontpagestory.com. You literally talk to a writer for 10 minutes while you're driving home from work, or you can fill out a quick email, tell them how amazing your mom is or your wife. They write this incredible story. Looks like it's on the cover of the newspaper, like the Buffalo News, framed, beautiful pictures. And honestly, just being able to say, I want to do something special for you, so I had a story written about you, that sounds amazing. It's myfrontpagestory.com. I would not steer you guys wrong. You know I love Western New York. I love Buffalo. myfrontpagestory.com. If your mom doesn't cry, I'd be shocked. If whoever you give it to, if they don't, it's like a 90% hit rate on tears. myfrontpagestory.com.
Can you get it for your kids? Like, what if I wanted this for
Yeah,
my
sure.
daughter?
I think that'd be weird for Mother's Day.
Yeah, for Mother's Day, it'd be
You
weird.
can get it. Yeah, you can.
Her birthday.
You definitely get it. And you know what? We've had people doing it. Decent amount of people do it for graduations, high school
Makes sense.
graduations, college graduations. You know, because it's a commemorative milestone moment. So the reality is, how many people listening have ever been the subject of an article in the newspaper? Like, how many people have ever had anything written about them? Period. So it's very cool. It's actually also the greatest gift ever for grandparents because they're obsessed with the newspaper. You know, nobody likes the newspaper more than your grandparents or your parents. So put them on the cover.
idea.
myfrontpagestory.com. They'll have it hanging up in the house. They'll cry tears of joy, and you'll be the best one of your siblings. You know, your siblings will all be like, oh, gosh, you made us look bad.
Flowers.
Oh, I'm all about that. Yeah. You can't get enough of that, making my sisters feel bad.
How about myfrontpagestory.com for Mother's Day? It's wrapped. My wife opens it, but it's about me. That's not
all right, it's time to move on.
That's not
so, Ross, what was the biggest story of last night to you? The Rams taking Simpson at 13 and McVay's reaction. I've seen you on social media, commenting about that. Was that the biggest story of last night? Because I was mostly wrapped up in a hockey game for the front 2/3 of the draft.
Yeah, no, that was. I mean, I could say some other things that were interesting that the Giants did, or the Jets, or the Bills trading down a bunch. Maybe the Bills didn't want to make the pick during the Sabres game. I don't know. But, for the Rams to do what they did is fascinating. I mean, listen, if you're a Rams fan, okay, I think it's completely within your right to feel either emotion. Either like, what the heck are we doing? Matthew Stafford was the MVP last year. We might have been the best team in the NFL. They lost 2 games in Seattle by a play each game. So I think it's well within your right to be frustrated that they didn't take a guy number 13 overall that could be the difference, could make the play that's the difference in the game. Which is, by the way, I'm sure some Bills fans felt that way about the Bills keep trading down. Conversely, though, the best time to get a quarterback is when you don't need one. And they obviously are very convicted about Simpson. He gets to sit behind Stafford for a year or two, whatever it is. And they obviously believe that he'll be the guy for them for a long time. Otherwise, they wouldn't have taken him 13 overall. And there's so much talk about McVay's reaction. I mean, listen, guys, you can make a really strong argument that he's the best coach in the NFL. I mean, every guy that works for him gets a head job elsewhere. They just keep poaching the coordinators every year because everybody thinks so highly of McVay. The idea, and by the way, he's a guy that a couple years ago thought about retiring or getting in the media. The idea that the Rams organization would just all of a sudden, out of thin air, tell arguably the best coach in the NFL, hey, we know you don't want this kid. We know you don't like him, but we're going to take him anyway. That's illogical. That doesn't pass the sniff test. You don't take the future franchise quarterback at 13 overall unless everybody is in on it. Everybody is fully on board. Why do I think he reacted like that? Because I think he knows that Matthew Stafford and the veteran players are going to see those social media clips. And he wants to be able to sell to them, yeah, I didn't want him to do it. I didn't like it. I wanted a guy to help us win a Super Bowl this year, fellas, but the ownership and Les, they felt like we needed to get a guy to develop. Give me a break, bro. I believe that was performative, and maybe rightfully so, because I think he knows what a locker room's like. And he knows guys like me and Stafford and a lot of people are not going to be happy, because what do we care about maybe 3 years from now? A lot of us won't be here 3 years from now. We care about this year, and we could win the Super Bowl this year, and you guys are more worried about 2028? So I think McVay knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah, didn't want to seem too excited. How about Jeremiah Love in Arizona, Ross, at pick 3? Can you justify a running back at pick 3?
Well, you can, because, you think about the teams that have made those kind of picks recently. Certainly the Falcons with Bijan Robinson, the Lions with Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't know how the Raiders actually feel about Ashton Genty. I don't really put him in that category. Saquon with the Giants. Those guys are difference-making players. I mean, those guys have a major, major impact on the team, on the game. The talking point about not doing that is because you're already paying them a lot of money. So the thought process is you could sign a guy like this in free agency, like the Packers did with Josh Jacobs or the Eagles with Saquon Barkley, for about the same money they're going to get as the number 3 overall pick. So you could have gotten a running back in free agency, Kenneth Walker, let's just say, who's not on that level, but whatever, and then use the number 3 pick on someone else. Whereas if you take, let's just say, Arvell Reese at number 3, well, Will Anderson just got $50 million a year. Micah Parsons makes $42 million a year. So if you're paying Arvell Reese $12 million a year and he becomes one of those type of guys, you're saving $30 million a year on the salary cap if they become that type of player. That said, you know, they're on the second head coach out there for the GM. I think he really just wanted to get the best player. You know, like maybe the owner won't think about the money that much, and maybe the owner will just be happy when this guy's scoring touchdowns and, you know, proof that I know who I'm drafting because you draft someone that you know is going to be good.
With Ross Tucker, always the debate about trading down, trading up. The Bills trade down 3 times in the first round and will pick, unless they do more, trading third in the second round tonight. Jeremy White from our morning show has been really good on the subject of trading down. Basically, Ross, he's like, you're kind of just considered smart if you do it, almost no matter what. And, you know, somebody else is trading up in every trade, and are they just donkeys? Like, that's kind of how the community seems to see it. Do you have a stance on it? Like, does it maybe it's case by case, or just whether, do you think you'd be a GM? If you were a GM, you'd be trading down a lot or not, or what?
I think I'd be more likely to trade down than trade up. You know, trading up, the message you're sending is you have a conviction about a player, and that's fine, and or you have a position where you really need someone. I kind of like the guys that trade down on multiple levels. Number one, their ego isn't so big that they think they're going to get every pick right. And they recognize the value of volume, the value of having a bunch of guys. You know, at every round, there's a percentage chance that the guy becomes a starter. And it's highest in the first round, and then lower in the second round, lower third round, et cetera. So the more dart throws you get, the more you're going to hit on. And then also, if you really feel good about your scouting staff and your ability to get legit players in the middle rounds, that's where there's ridiculous value. You know, I mean, I can just tell you, looking at like the Eagles and some of the success they've had, you know, Nakobe Dean, who just got a big contract from the Raiders. He was a third-round pick. You know, even Cooper DeJean went in the second round. So I think the Bills are going to take a guy tonight that no one would have been like, oh, my gosh, if they had taken him last night. Now, I don't know if that's Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, the safety from Toledo, or maybe it's T.J. Parker or Cassius Howe, the edge rushers from Clemson or A&M. The point is there are people that had those guys at the bottom of their mock drafts in the first round. And I think it's a distinct possibility that the Bills are fine with any of those guys and have them all grouped closely enough that they're like, you know what? Let's just keep moving down. I mean, we're saving money by not having the guaranteed money that the first-round pick gets and whatever. B, we're picking up extra picks. And tonight, they're going to take – the Bills' first-round pick is the guy they take with the third pick tonight. That's their first-round pick. And the difference between the guy they would have gotten at 26 or 28 or 30 or whatever versus tonight is negligible. Negligible.
Caden McDonald, C.J. Allen, Denzel Boston. These are all names we spent time on over the last 2 months, and they're still sitting there.
Yep. A couple of other ones that we spent some time on, Ross, went right ahead of the Bills, which I always love it when a draft gives you an opportunity to see what they would have done if this player was still there. You know, so Casey Concepcion was somebody that was talked about a lot here in the market. Not as much the safety from Oregon, Thieneman, but still, you know, there was a need there. It's not crazy. And those were the 2 picks that preceded the Bills getting on the clock. And I would have just loved it if at least one of them even would have still been there to see if they would have started this domino trade down right out of the first round ultimately, because that would have taken, I think, that it's hard for me to be upset at them for doing it the way they did it if there was literally no one there that they really wanted. You know, why force it?
Well,
Go ahead.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And I know fans like the excitement of a trade up, and they like getting, that guy that, that maybe was mocked in the teens or in the 20s. But there's definitely a butterfly effect of the things that happen in front of you. And there's so many examples now of teams getting jumped, and it really helped them out. They were going to take a guy, I remember people thought the Ravens were going to take Jordan Davis. Instead, the Eagles jumped ahead of him. Well, then the Ravens took Kyle Hamilton. Kyle Hamilton's been awesome for them. Or everybody's talking about the Mekhi Lemon thing last night with the Steelers and the Eagles. I remember when the Saints were going to take Reuben Foster, the linebacker out of Alabama. The Niners jumped him, took him. Foster was a colossal bust. The Saints instead had to settle for Ryan Ramczyk, the tackle from Wisconsin, who was 3-time All-Pro and started for double-digit years for them. So I don't know. I think even like with the Steelers and Eagles last night, all that matters, everybody's talking about it, but all that matters now is how well does Lemon play for the Eagles? How well does Iheanacho play for the Steelers? And the fact that the Steelers wanted Lemon or they were on the phone with him, it's irrelevant at this point. It really is.
Hershey Bears are still alive. I don't have to tell you this. I bet.
Heard that.
Yep.
I heard that. And the Flyers. I'm still hoping you guys. I'm still hoping. Listen, we established that I'm a longtime Porter Martone guy, big time Flyers fan, and ever since I started watching the Flyers this year, they haven't lost. They're 3-0 against the Penguins, and I think my actually tuning in to watch the games has been a big reason for that.
I'm so happy for you about that. I'm also, and I'm not even kidding when I say this, happy that I think it's very likely that the first time some people in our audience ever heard the name Porter Martone was when you brought him up 2-3 weeks ago. And he's been one of the best stories of the whole playoff so far for the Flyers. So I think that's pretty cool. Credit to you for mentioning him to begin with. Although I don't know if you named him by name. I think you needed me to tell you who he was. But still,
as a long time hockey guy, it's fulfilling to be a fan of the best team in hockey. The team that has the best chance to win the Stanley Cup. I was saying this when they had a 3% chance to make the playoffs. So I'm just telling you, the Flyers are going to win the Cup, and it seems like that's still going to happen.
Thank you, Ross. Back to the offseason soon here. Enjoy.
All right, see you guys. MyFrontPageStory.com. Don't forget, Bulldog.
We have no chance of forgetting it.
Would never forget it.
I have a different gift in mind, actually, though.
Well, yeah, what's that?
I can't say.
Oh, well, sure. Yeah, we're on the radio.
I'll tell you some other time.
Okay.
Again, Jeremy on the picks thing, he was great. In with me last week before the draft, we had our pre-draft special, and then this morning, he just, well, I can't speak for him. I think he even said, though, I just want the conversation about it. I think there should be a conversation, because am I wrong that, I know how I am about it, I'm almost militant about trading down. I would always do it. Those examples Ross gave are two of hundreds of times where, like, you were better off not doing that, and just sort of appreciating what you can't know about these players and the randomness of it all and everything. So I've liked listening to it. They spent a lot of time this morning on of course, because of what the Bills did.
Right. Like I alluded to with Ross there, I'm not as militant, far from it. Like, I've never really been mad about a trade-up. You like a guy enough, go get him, okay, fine.
Unless it's Sammy Watkins.
Well, yeah, if I don't have a quarterback, then don't go get a receiver. Like, what are you doing? And don't tell me it's to support this quarterback that you're not even sure is good yet. That was, big problems for me there. But in this case, that's why for weeks here, after months of reading and hearing about this draft class and the scarcity of first-round grades that there would be, given where the Bills are, if I thought they could get, or if I thought, what do I know? But if I had accumulated, the knowledge that I have, and it seemed apparent that they were passing on something that could really impact them at 26, the way this draft fell last night, then I'd be mad about it. But that was not the case. It was known for months that it was pretty thin. So get as much other stuff as you can, and if the picks are relatively flat for the swath of time where you're going to now have 3 or 4 picks instead of just picking that one, I'm all for it. Again, if I think it's a very different thing if Casey Concepcion does not get chosen by the Browns or Thieneman doesn't get chosen by the Bears, then I think you've got more of a leg to stand on. Yes, these other guys that could get picked tonight at 35 have been mocked to the Bills at 26, so it's not going to be an outrage, that they passed on them and get them at 35. But those other guys, especially with one of them being a receiver, and that everyone seems so high on, I think that would have been very different. And I'm not here to tell you they would have passed. They'd make the pick if Concepcion is there. I would even bet that they would have. Because I always thought Bean would sort of maybe overreact to the criticism that he had received about the position, and I could see him feeling like, I'm going to throw this guy in there. Okay, well, how about now, big mouth?
I'd love to know. My guess would be that they wouldn't have done that, but I don't know that either. I thought the whole time they were set up to do exactly what they did. Maybe not 3 trades, but since DJ Moore, all right, you don't have a perfect team. This isn't 5 years ago where you almost have to strain to find a need anywhere on the Bills. It's different now. And they needed they don't have it yet, but an influx of youth and hopefully talent. It's not first-round talent in the end. But I think Ben Solak put it as that it's screaming trade down the Bills situation, and I agreed with that. And so in a vacuum, I'd want to do it almost without exception. In this case, 100%. Mm-hmm. I thought they would, and I don't know if any other player that went before them could have changed that. But tonight's going to be exciting. He also, Jeremy was talking about too, with the draft chart. We love our draft charts and the point values and everything like that. He said the Bills' 9 picks that they have left, they haven't used any yet, equate to the 15th pick of the first round. One player on the points chart. And again, somewhat devil's advocate, I think, but just explain to me why I wouldn't rather have pick 15 than these 9 guys, several of whom probably have no chance or almost no chance. You never know. And I would rather have the 9 guys easily because of injury risk. And also football is unique as a draft. And it makes it more interesting as a draft because of all the positional variance. Hockey, you've got 3 positions: forward, D, goalie, right? Mostly. It's not the same, where Houston needs an offensive lineman. New England needs an offensive – some other team needs a linebacker. Some other team needs a safety. Some other team needs a running back. And you can play on that and use that to your benefit, which you can't really do in hockey.
That's another piece of this that I think – makes it appealing to me, unlike other years, is that perhaps what they're shopping for, it's been notable, we'll talk to Sal here, well, not for another 90 minutes or more, but it's come up, they haven't really done anything with their linebackers, and do they have guys that fit? What are we doing? If I'm looking to draft maybe 2 linebackers in this draft that may play for me, I'd rather do that on Friday and Saturday. I don't need to do that on Thursday, right? So give me another shot at that, and I should be able to fill that out, I think. And I don't think you needed to do that yesterday. So I'm good. It's always disappointing when they don't make the selection. You're waiting and they traded down and they traded down. Oh, they traded right out of the first round. Okay, go to bed. It's a bummer, but once they made the first trade, I was rooting for them to not make a pick. Just go and get right out of there. See what else you can get. So I'm glad that it turned out the way it did. But if the class were different, and even for me as an individual, what do I know? But if I had a guy that if Nick Emenworry were there at 26 and the Bills passed on him to make these trades, I might be in here setting things on fire. But he wasn't. It wasn't, they passed on him last year. Thank you. So I'm all right over here with how they handled yesterday.
803-0550 on that or the Sabres win. We'll take a break and then talk some more. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. Paul Hamilton from Boston at 5. This is WGR. Do it all day. I've asked friends. I've got.
We've been living in sin so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go. All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. You seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over. It's about time. Oh, all sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. Roller coaster. I want to go down the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole of life. And now it's about to leave. Oh, roller coaster. Roller coaster.
Only one answer to this question that has, well, I guess technically 3
Yes.
possible answers.
Sure, yeah.
Would you ever go to Luukkonen tomorrow? Sunday. Would you ever go to Luukkonen for Game 4?
I would not.
You would not.
I would not. I saw, it sort of came up last night in the, the throes of the victory and even this morning. And I thought to sort of say something about it on social media. And then I thought, I think it's so obvious I don't even want to wait in here. I'm just gonna wait until 3:00, and when it comes up, I'm gonna say, of course, Lion is playing Game 4. I think, unless they really do want to take we're gonna get back to what we did all season thing out for a hard spin, then that's Luukkonen's way back in. But man, I thought Lion was really steady, really calm, really good.
Me too.
In this game. So I would not take him out. I would expect that if he plays until he falters, he'll falter, and then you'll have.
Day 2 of the NFL Draft in Pittsburgh will get going in just a couple of hours. The Bills still looking to make their first pick of the 2026 draft following 3 trade backs yesterday. And as we currently sit, the Bills are slated to select in the second round at 35th overall and in the third round at 66 overall. 49ers, though, will get round 2 underway. It's a 7 p.m. start tonight. Our coverage will begin at the exact same time. Nate Geary, Derek Kramer, and myself are going to have you covered throughout the evening. And draft coverage on this Odyssey Sports Station is presented nationally by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. And for more on tonight, do stay tuned. Sal Capaccio will join the show an hour before the start of round 2 at 6. To the Sabres, it is a 2-1 series lead for Buffalo following yesterday's win. Now we wait until Sunday for Game 4 in Boston. Something to keep an eye on, though, for tomorrow. Head coach Lindy Ruff said with the media that Josh Norris could potentially practice tomorrow. We'll see how that transpires for him, but we'll get the latest on the Sabres. Paul Hamilton will join the show in about a half hour at 5 p.m. And then 3 games tonight across the league. Montreal hosts Tampa at 7. Vegas is in Utah versus the Mammoth at 9:30. And then at 10, Oilers are at Anaheim, and each of those series are tied at 1 game apiece. It's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
My read on this was Sean McVay being like, I have to understand all parts of this. And if he's up there giddy being like, woohoo, we got the franchise quarterback, their actual franchise quarterback is like, you know what? Maybe I won't sign. Sean McVay loves Matthew Stafford, and I believe that part of him being out there like that was like, Stafford is watching, which I'm sure he is, and I need to make sure to walk the fine line of being happy for the pick, but not dancing on the grave of a quarterback who's not dead yet.
Ian Rappaport, sounds like Aaron Rodgers a little bit when the Packers drafted Jordan Love. Rodgers just would never have it, and seems like maybe his relationship with the Packers was done from that point forward. But he was there for another year at least, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll get back into the draft stuff. Earlier talking about the Sabres and their win last night, Game 4, Sunday afternoon. Definitely Alex Lyon, question mark. I like that conversation. I don't think it is insane for it not to be Lyon, but I'd be really surprised if it were Luukkonen in the game. I just like talking it out.
Mm-hmm.
And we brought up the Carolina 06 season. A couple of callers to the station have mentioned that as an example of a team that's gone back and forth with goalies successfully. As we said earlier, I think they did it more out of desperation but the Sabres are not in a desperate situation here. They weren't even in one yesterday.
No.
But, that's true that they went back and forth in 06. So I have one of the box scores up from that series. There were 5 former Sabres on that Oilers team.
5.
They weren't all former Sabres at the time. I think. I
see. Okay.
3 were, and 2 would play for the Sabres later.
Yeah. Well, I know. Pekka was there.
Yes.
Is Sekera there by then? No, he's not even here yet. Is he?
No, maybe not.
He comes in later. Yeah, sorry. He definitely played there after playing here, but wrong era. I'm already out.
I think it is 3 that hadn't been to the Sabres yet, actually.
Okay.
And 2, Pekka and Dwayne Roloson.
Right. Roloson, of course.
Roloson's their game 1 starter and gets injured late.
Yep.
Ty Conklin goes in. He would play for the Sabres, the next year?
Right.
And gets scored on in the last minute, and he never sees any more action in the series, there's a third guy. I don't remember his name. There's a third guy that plays the rest of the series.
Yeah.
Rolson does not return.
Right. Oh, now I really want to think of the name of that guy. It's not that important right this second.
Also, Jaro Spacek signs in free agency from Edmonton.
Okay.
That
Yes.
offseason.
Right.
And Rafi Torres.
Rafi Torres. Right.
An important trade deadline acquisition.
Rafi Torres.
Maybe 2010, the Boston series.
Yes. Yes.
You want the other goalie's name?
Yes.
UC Markkanen.
Oh, boy. I would not have. I remember the name, but that was not the name I was thinking it was going to be. Yeah, they were down bad. Still went to 7 games, right? That series?
It did.
Man.
Not that I watched any of it. I was too hurt. I could not watch Carolina after their win against the Sabres. I couldn't. I think I still haven't.
I watched a good amount of it, but I know I missed one game late in the series because I remember being at a Tragically Hip show at Art Park while a game was on. I was like, yeah, whatever. I'm okay not seeing Game 5 of this Stanley Cup final.
Mm-hmm.
I think that lines up. Anyway, that's my memory. I hope it's right.
Utah and Vegas, that's tonight. Game 3 tonight in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, first ever playoff game in Utah, only the second year of the franchise. They've done a really cool thing. They have invited fans, regionally, who have become Utah fans that originally were Vegas fans, or even Vegas fans currently who want to just trade. They're giving you a Utah Mammoth player jersey in exchange for your Las Vegas Golden Knights jerseys, which is really a boss move, man.
Love it.
Is really, really cool that they're doing that. I love it too. I love everything about. I don't know if everybody loved the Mammoth nickname. I liked the Utah Hockey Club from last year, but the Zamboni they've got that looks like a woolly mammoth is incredible. That's real, right? I saw people sitting in it. I could get got by AI here.
I don't know, actually.
I'm pretty sure it's a real thing. Really cool.
My level of commitment to the National Hockey League this year has not extended quite that far.
To the Utah Mammoth Zamboni?
No, it's not. But I'm open to looking in. I mean, I think tonight could be that night. It's Friday.
I'm excited about I'm just really happy to have Tampa and Montreal away from the Sabres.
Yes, I agree.
Because I have been dying to sit and really watch that. We got to do a little of that Sunday afternoon. At least it was afternoon where I was, before the Sabres and Bruins played game 1. But I only got so far, and then the Sabre game started, and that was the end of that. So I'm ready. I'm ready for just to get home tonight and put that on and just look at it. Game 3 in Montreal. I mean, that is going to be beautiful.
And, speaking of Carolina before, I really never had an instinct last night to watch Carolina, Ottawa. I mean, the uniforms.
Oh, it looked horrible.
It looks horrible.
It looked horrible. What Carolina's wearing on the road now is really tough.
It's not worse, however, than Anaheim. I can't believe Anaheim's uniforms are real.
All orange?
No, the white with orange and orange.
Okay.
Orange helmet, orange pants.
Yeah.
I can't believe that actually that passed and got through R&D, and they wear that. Could you ever? I guess you have to.
If you're playing there,
I
guess you do. Yeah.
But I mean, is Carolina Ottawa? Game 2 was I think I read was amazing. Double overtime.
Yeah, it was really good. And there was the penalty shot off of the overturned goal, and it was weird, but whatever. Yeah, it was good.
What was last night? What's Ottawa's problem? Carolina's too good?
It seems like it. They're also down bad now. I don't know how early in the game. I definitely didn't see it happen, but by the time I got back to it late, Sanderson had been knocked out with a headshot, and he's not coming back, at least not for Game 4. And they also lost, I think, his partner, Zub. So they're down, I think, their top 2D now.
And 3-0.
And you're right. And the hit, it's Taylor Hall that hits Sanderson, and it's shoulder right to chin. But I think we already learned today, no supplemental discipline on that. Not that it's going to help Ottawa anyway that much. I mean, you could take Taylor Hall out of the lineup. I don't think it would make that big of a dent in Carolina. And the guys they're down. I don't know what happened to the other guy, but Sanderson is there. I mean, he's their number 1D, and he got wrecked.
Punishment for Peter Schaefer.
Right.
20 years later.
Right.
Glenn is with us. Hello.
Good afternoon, guys. Mike, I tend to agree with you. I believe they should go back with UPL for Game 4. Reason being is you can see since December when they went on that run, regardless of what the one goaltender did the previous game, Lindy kept switching back and forth. And it just seemed to these goaltenders that extra break give them a big boost in terms of their performance. So that's my opinion on it.
Well, that would be part of the argument that you know what you got during the season based on the rhythm that they were in. And not always was it every other day, but often it was. And this is 2 days in between anyway. And I think it's close enough.
Mm-hmm.
I can't quite get myself to say I would do it, but I don't think it's a bad idea. And this is part of why that you would get back into, you'd hope to be able to get back into a rotation, which I would say was a strength of the Sabres during the season. Look how it went. I mean, look how they both did, being in that kind of role, a tandem. And so that works for me. I wouldn't be afraid to do it. It would really be interesting. The reactions would be, out there.
For sure.
If they went back to Luukkonen after last night. But like you talked about a little bit earlier, the odds are not necessarily bad that they'll want to go back to Luukkonen at some point eventually. If Lyon isn't just great every game and they win every game, they would, maybe do that. And ideally, it wouldn't be like more than a week or 2 weeks before you do that. Every game is so important now, but I'm not done with Luukkonen just because he gave up 2 bad goals.
Me either. I said it all along leading up to Game 3 when I was stumping for Lyon to get the start last night, which ultimately he did. I'm not done. If you're talking about another 6 weeks of hockey here, absolutely both guys are going to have opportunity to play. I think it would either be performance or even fatigue, emotional, physical, mental fatigue. I think one little piece that it's a subtle thing, but if you wanted to go all the way here with what they were doing in the regular season to increase the comfort level of each guy, they not only didn't play consecutive games, they didn't dress for consecutive games for a long time there. When all 3 guys were healthy, the guy that played, Lyon or Luukkonen, played, and the other guy was in a suit, and Ellis backed up. And so I doubt you're going to get all the way there. I don't think they would go. It seems apparent Ellis is clearly the third guy. We can argue all day about who's 1A, 1B, 1, 2, whatever, between Luukkonen and Lyon. They're clearly the 2 best guys. They're both dressing. You're not putting your third guy in the backup position because if something happened, you'd never forgive yourself. Not that he couldn't go in and play well, but if you've got him ranked, you got to have the top 2 guys dressed.
Pat is next. Pat, what do you think?
Hey, guys, I got to go with Lyon on this one just due to the fact that, he's been known as the road goalie for the team majority of the year to begin with. And it seems like the guy couldn't lose on the road at majority of the time. And I think it's to the point now where we cracked that code, I think. I think the Sabres have figured out where this past Game 3 was where they figured out how to beat Boston in every aspect of the game. And I think Lyon is your answer, but you don't want to get in a shootout or a battle with these guys, making it 6-7 or 7-8 or whatever, like a Tampa game, and having UPL in net. I think Lyon gave up that 1 goal, locked in, and now I think it's smooth sailing from here. And don't forget, it's the playoffs. It seems like every year it's 1 goalie. It's all it takes to get locked in to ride the wave, and he might be the answer.
I think, he might be. I think that would tend to be the case more often when you have a goalie that has been great all season or a clear number 1, and that's not what the goalies have been really good this year. I'm not saying they haven't, but this is not a team with an established guy, so it would be an outlier in the last 20 years if the Sabres went deep using 2. I don't think they're going to, and I think if I put a poll up who would start Game 4, 95% at least would vote Lyon. Is that too high?
No.
Who wouldn't? I mean, all I'm saying is I think it's worth talking about. You liked the point about the long game when you advocated for Lyon in Game 3, and that's a lot of where my head is at. That was a great, analysis. You talked me into it. And I think there is still that.
Yeah, the same logic does hold here. I have to admit, because what I was looking to avoid by going to Lyon when they did for Game 3 was having it be like a panicky, you got a gun to your head, we're really down bad, and you avoid that by being proactive about it. The same logic holds here. If you want to really establish that you're going to play either guy and they're truly equals, then you do it. The question is whether you be able to get all the way there, because you've spent your entire life since you were 17 or 18 years old being around this sport. I'm talking about Lindy Ruff now. And I just won a game 3-1 with this guy, made some really huge saves, and helped us crush 2 late power plays against us. And I'm going to do what now? I'm going to put the other guy in? No, I can't do that. So it's like even Lindy Ruff maybe is got warring bits of him, because there's reason why you'd want the flexibility as the coach to be able to truly just treat the guys as equals so the team isn't bothered in the least when you do make a switch. But I think it's hard to overcome he played so good.
No, I know.
You just can't.
And it's 2 days off.
You just can't get past it.
Think about it this way, too. If it was about the rotation, Lyon is back from injury, he could have started Game 2. Okay, well, nobody would have done that.
Right.
And what happened in Game 2? Did anybody call the post-game show after Game 2 to say Lyon should have started? Maybe. We weren't talking about that before Game 2.
Right.
But, Luukkonen cracked in that game. Wasn't, you didn't have to have predicted that. But that's kind of, I don't know. It's not, I can't say it's cause and effect that he did that because he had just played the last game. I mean, I can't go that far. But you got here with both guys. I wouldn't want to, block out that going forward. Paul Hamilton coming up at 5. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. This is WGR.
Hey, it's Bulldog here for Resurgence.
Well, found out the hard way today. Potatoes eventually go bad.
Is this a line from Fletch, or
No.
is this something that really happened?
No. We did have a guy yesterday, by the way, at the event who introduced himself to me as Frida's boss. Who's Frida? My secretary. Beautiful, beautiful man.
Very happy that how many years has it been?
What?
The
movie? How old is the movie?
No, you on the show quoting Fletch. It's like the entirety of the show, I feel like.
It's entirety of since the movie came out.
Yeah, okay.
40 years?
It's the first time that anyone ever came to you with...
No.
No? Okay.
No, it's the last time. Potatoes, they liquefy. And you know what dogs think? Yum. So you take the bag of potatoes to the garbage can and it drips a little bit?
Yeah.
Oh, let me have some of that, Margot said. Let me roll around in that.
I can smell this conversation right now.
It's the best, the grossest things. Dogs just love to eat them.
I was clean. Oh, we got to go.
We got to go. You're off the hook.
Good, fine.
I'm off the hook. I think it's going to be your turn. Paul Hamilton next on WGR.
Day 2 of the NFL Draft will get going in just about 2 hours from Pittsburgh, and we'll see when the Bills do officially make their first selection of this 2026 draft following trading back 3 times yesterday. The Bills are now scheduled to pick in the second round at 35th overall and in the third round at 66 overall. The 49ers, though, will get round 2 underway again at 7 p.m., and our coverage will begin at the exact same time. Nate Geary, Derek Kramer, and myself will have you covered throughout the evening. And draft coverage on this Odyssey Sports station is presented nationally by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. And for more on tonight, do stay tuned. We'll talk with Sal Capaccio in just about an hour at 6. To the Sabres, it is a 2-1 series lead for Buffalo following yesterday's win, and now we wait until Sunday for Game 4 in Boston. Something to keep an eye on, though. Head coach Lindy Ruff did speak with the media today and said that Josh Norris could practice tomorrow after missing yesterday with an injury. We'll get the latest, though, when Paul Hamilton does join the show next, so do stay tuned for that. And speaking of Game 4, do join Brian Koziel and Owen Parker live this Sunday from 11 to 2 p.m. at Hamburg Tap Room for pregame coverage of Game 4 and more. It's presented by Neutral Vodka Seltzer. Keep it tasty this playoff season. And then also going on tonight, 3 games in the NHL. Montreal hosts Tampa at 7. Vegas is in Utah versus the Mammoth at 9:30. Then at 10, Oilers are at Anaheim, and each of those series are tied at 1 game apiece. It's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Paul Hamilton.
Oh, Erotic and Hamilton going to each other, and Sawinski fights into it.
We have the fight.
With Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Snodcheck was just totaled by an Iowa State player against the board.
I think it was by Hamilton.
On WGR.
Really a pretty unnecessary hit by Hamilton. Hamilton is still awfully mad. He's being held back.
Number 17, Paul Hill. 2 minutes for charging, 5 minutes for fighting, and the misconduct.
Sports Radio 550.
Paul and the Sabres enjoying a nice little weekend in New England. 2 days off here between games 3 and 4. There should be a song. There should be a song about that.
Weekend in New England?
Yes.
There's probably 5,000 songs about that.
There's at least one. The great man.
Chevy Chase.
Barry Manilow. Want me to sing it?
Sure,
no.
Badly now, yes, actually.
No, they say you can't. You shouldn't try Manilow.
Yeah.
Or Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
You shouldn't. You got to come correct.
All right.
If you're going to try to do those two vocal greats.
Who is the vocalist behind "Please Come to Boston"?
That'd be Dave Loggins, Bulldog.
Okay, there you go.
Look at me.
I mean, it's.
I happen to know this one.
It's a very forlorn, lonesome sounding song.
I like that song. I like sad songs. My wife hates that song. Please Come to Boston. Dave Loggins, who I believe also is the voice on the Augusta, the Masters song.
Okay.
Remember when we used to play that with words?
Yes.
I think that's also Dave Loggins.
Yes, I think that's right.
All right. Has Paul left?
Paul quit.
Paul Hamilton.
Paul took a hammer and smashed his equipment so he can't talk to us.
You know Weekend in New England, Barry Manilow. Come on, you don't?
I don't, not offhand. I'm sure it's a melody in a song I'll know if I heard it. Maybe if you even sang it. But
I'm close. I'm close.
I don't know it off. I don't know it by title.
I want to pick up the right part for me. I might do it.
Okay.
I might do it.
Yeah, well, we could talk.
Paul,
let's talk to Paul for a bit, and then we can revisit.
Feeling better, Paul, hopefully.
What's that?
Are you feeling better? You said yesterday how you couldn't really get out. No,
this was a good day to not have much to do, so just kind of hunkering down here. Had found some clam chowder and then hunkering down here.
Did the Sabres have? Did they have?
Off.
They had the day off. That's what I was going to say. Okay, so there was
it was
nothing
just
to cover.
Lindy available, and that's it. And then they'll be back on the ice tomorrow for practice.
What did he say today, having slept on Game 3?
First of all, with Josh Norris, he said it's possible he could practice tomorrow. He said he has improved. He said so he's not ruling him out for practice, but he doesn't know if he will or he won't, so we'll see how that goes. He talked about that he wasn't as vocal about how poorly they played in Game 2. Sometimes he might be because he didn't want media and other people like questioning his players relentlessly on what went wrong and everything else. And he wanted to kind of keep that in-house and just go over things with them and kind of keep it measured. And let's not get too excited about this. It's happened. This is what we can do about it to get back to our game, which is exactly what they did. And, I mean, that, to me, was the Buffalo Sabres we've been seeing since December, for the most part. And, he just wanted to kind of downplay it, and he did downplay it publicly.
Right, but privately, I saw him indicate that, we really talked honestly and looked at what we needed to do, and that's a good job by him, I think. Obviously to correct them in private, but to not let his frustration on Tuesday night and even Wednesday come through at all, really. He seemed very matter-of-fact to me after the game on Tuesday. They got a dose of playoff success, and now they got a dose of playoff adversity, and we're learning as we go kind of thing. And it served them well because they were as good to me in this game last night all game as they were on Sunday in game one. And it just took them a little less time to find the scoreboard and ultimately get in front before, unlike Sunday when they waited until the final 3 minutes to have a lead.
Yeah, no, honestly, I think they were better. And even as we're watching penalties being taken in the third period, Dahlin goes at 11:27, Thompson goes at 14:13. Sometimes, you get a sense of, I didn't get that at all. I didn't sense at all that this was going to, even though it was a one-goal game at the time, I didn't think, well, they're in trouble. This is going to be a problem or whatever. And it wasn't. They killed the penalty. Yes, Lyon had to make a couple of good saves. There was one after the Thompson penalty where Timmins blocked a Pasternak shot, and then Lyon had to make a good save on Pasternak. So, of course, your goaltender is going to have to make some saves when you're shorthanded like that. But it wasn't like Boston was all over them.
No, they even had a great chance themselves, I think, on one of those two. I don't remember which. I think it was the first one because I remember it was early enough in the game. They're like, just go score a shorthanded goal. And then they almost did.
They almost had a 2-on-0.
Yeah.
McLeod just missed turning it into a 2-on-0.
Yep. Their penalty kill was excellent, especially late there. What did you think of the calls? I thought Dahlin knew exactly what he was doing on his. I didn't think that was an accident. I think he thought I can hit him and make it look like an accident, and I think he got caught.
Yeah. They were both calls.
Yep.
This has just been typical NHL officiating in the playoffs. We could go back and pick out probably over 10 penalties against the Sabres and over 10 penalties against the Bruins that weren't called. Sturm was whining because the Sabres are getting a piece of his goaltender, and Lindy even said, yeah, all right. He goes, there's probably one time I'm seeing in there that he's probably right. He goes, I can also talk about how Thompson got tripped twice and blatant plays, and he goes, I could complain about that too. He said so.
He would be if they were down. He would be.
Yes, right. That might be right.
Yeah. So what? Of course, good job, Sabres. I like that you're getting a piece of their goaltender. I like that you're aggravating him, and that you're aggravating him so much that it's going to be talked about, that Sturm thinks he needs to wake the officials up to it or whatever. That's how you win hockey games, is when you get by, brush them. Get a little piece of them. Lyon was at it again last night, yakking at them.
Sounds like we just had Paul drop off.
Yep.
Is what I think happened there.
Did I mention yesterday from watching Philadelphia-Pittsburgh, the move that you saw a few times in that game, and somebody might have gotten called for it finally, but it's just a spear after the play is over. It's not obvious, but there's little poke with the blade of the stick.
Yeah.
There are more ways to test officials who don't want to bog playoff games down with penalties and, get away with it. And that's those shots around the net. What are they they're going to call that? They're going to want to do it once and hope that it, remedies the situation.
Paul, I thought it was pretty interesting that Lindy said when asked about the Krebs early penalty, which I still can't believe happened, that Lindy just sort of said, well, they warned us, so I wasn't surprised by it at all. Were you, even with the warning?
No, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm on my way down to do my first period interview. I didn't see it.
You didn't see it, okay.
That's the one drawback of that interview. Anything that happens from 5 minutes, with 5 minutes left of the period on, I usually don't see.
Okay.
I'm on my way downstairs. Yeah, so I'm just going by what Lindy said.
Yeah. Well, Sturm's obviously trying to get, hopefully a call or more than one with this goaltender business. Paul, the thing I'm noticing here about Lyon that's coming to light through his coming into this game on Tuesday and then, of course, getting the start last night. I mean, I've watched him all year long here with the Sabres. I never knew he was the, you want to go guy. I did not catch that all year long, watching however many games he played. But he's drawn it, during game 2 last night. He's into it with fans behind the glass. He's nuts. I didn't realize he was nuts. I mean, he's a goalie, and there's a certain amount of insanity that comes with that intrinsically. But I just had no idea that he was that guy.
Yeah, no, it just seems like in the playoffs he's become that guy. I didn't either. Or at least the cameras weren't catching it or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, he's sitting there going, oh, yeah, that's hilarious. That's a good one. Nice job. Yeah,
you got me. Yeah, right.
I mean, he's right into it, though. But look at, how he's playing, too. That,
right.
He's ready to roll. And the only goal that beat him in his 2 appearances here in the playoffs was Timmins went down to block the shot, which I don't mind because 9 out of 10 times he will block it. Unfortunately, he didn't on that one, and he screened the goaltender, and Lyon never saw it. So that's the only goal that's beaten him in 14 minutes in one game and a full game in this one.
Paul, how about Dahlin? Through half the game last night, I'm any frustrated fan, Sabres can't score, and I thought a few times, he struggled with the puck and went down on one play. Any thoughts on, whether he's off his game in your opinion or no?
Definitely he's off his game. I mean, but I think the Bruins are a big reason why.
Yeah.
They have developed a game plan where he basically can't move. I mean, they're on him in the defensive zone immediately, and they're not letting him come up ice. So they have targeted him that we're not going to let you beat us. Let Bo Byram beat us, which he's doing.
Yeah.
Let Owen Power beat us, who has 3 assists. But you're not going to. And that's basically, I think, what the stance they've taken with him. And, this is his first time in the playoffs, and he needs to grow and he needs to learn from it. I mean, superstar players, which rightfully so, he's being talked about in the Norris Trophy conversation by a very good defenseman in Chris Pronger. That's it.
That's a target on you when that happens.
Yeah, and you got to figure it out. It's like Sturm has made his move. Rasmus Dahlin, it's your move. You're a superstar. How are you going to counter what the Bruins are doing? The one thing I did like about Dahlin is in the start where the Sabres started so well on the forecheck. I mean, they were in there in a hurry, winning battles, and the Boston defense panicked.
I am not going to panic.
I'm not going to panic either, but we lost Paul again. This is how things go. We're talking to Paul Hamilton. He's in Boston. Sabres with an off day today. We'll practice tomorrow and then play game 4 Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock. Hoping we get Paul back because I suspect I know what he'll say about the goaltending situation, but we talked about Lyon, but we haven't asked him what he thinks they will do tomorrow. I would guess his lean will be Lyon, but I don't know it.
He said yesterday, if they win 3-1 and he makes 37 saves, he's going back in. And I said, I think if they win 3-1 and he makes 7 saves,
he's
going back in. And it happened right in between.
Somewhere in between 7 and 37. It's a wide swath.
A 3-1 game.
Yep, right. Worked out all right then. So all right, we'll try to get reconnected with Paul here. I wonder what they can figure out to do. It's not just necessarily to me up to Dahlin to figure it out. The coaching staff should be able to help him, But I wonder what that looks like, because I think he's been. Thank God for Byram, Paul, because Byram looks every bit like someone who's done all of this before to me. Like, I've liked him most of the year. He's such a strong skater, and when the puck is on his stick, he's usually very strong with it. But I just feel like he's at another level here in these games, and obviously the goals help a lot. But without him, I think they'd be really sunk.
It's not the first time I've seen him like that. I woke up to Bo Byram his rookie year when he won the Cup with Colorado, and I was watching Colorado going, wow, look at Bo Byram. I mean, this kid's a rookie. Look at how well he's playing. I think he's better than Makar in that series. He was like their best defenseman and really, really played well. And here he is again in the playoffs and doing it again. I mean, you got 4 Sabres. I'm not a huge plus-minus guy, but they're kind of way ahead in the game. I mean, Krebs is +5, and Power, Byram, and Tucker +4. I mean, in 3 games. So, and then the Bruins have a flock of guys who are -4 and -3. So, I mean, and in this case, it is showing how well he's playing, because he didn't score for a long, long time near the end of the season, and they got an empty netter. And now he's back finding his way in the slot and that type of thing. What I started to say when we got cut off about Dahlin in the beginning, where the Sabres really were hard on the forecheck on the Bruins, he was knocking down pucks at the blue line, causing turnovers that the forecheck was causing, and then finding Sabres, and even out at the red line a couple of times he picked off pucks and got it back the other way quickly. The Sabres got out of the zone, he got it up, and they were right back into the zone. So those are the couple of things that I did like about Dahlin early in the game. But, as I mentioned, Sturm has made his move, and now it's time for Dahlin to make his move. As if you're going to be a superstar Norris Trophy type of defenseman, you have to be able to play like one, even when the other team has done things with you and tried to shut you down.
How about Oslin, Paul? When we talked yesterday, I think I said it this way, and I wish I hadn't. With Norris coming out and Oslin going in, it's not like you put Oslin in with Norris and you're making an improvement by putting, say, Oslin in for Dunn. Instead, it's Oslin for Norris, and that turned out to be an improvement anyways. I wonder, Paul, if Norris got hurt on that first period head first into the boards, he might have played 2 periods of game 2 with a head injury or an injury of some kind, if that's where it happened. So that might, buffer how bad he's been or just not good, if that's a gentler way to put it. Anyway, Oslin was fantastic, Paul.
Yeah, he was. And in Norris's case, he looks like he's been playing hurt the whole series. I mean, it just has not been there for him. And Noah Oslin is a big improvement, what we saw there. And it shouldn't surprise any of us, but this is just a 22-year-old kid. And as Lindy Ruff said, he goes, I very rarely have to correct him. He goes, we're in film session and stuff. He goes, I don't have to tell him, oh, geez, you did that wrong. He goes, it's so rare that he makes a mistake like that you got to say something. He goes, he just knows how to play and what to do. Even Byram said he was surprised he got the puck for that goal. And I asked Oslin, I said, how did you see him? Because it looked like he was behind you. He goes, no, I saw him the whole way. I don't know how. I don't know if he has radar or what, but he did and put a perfect pass to him. And I have never, guys, I don't know if you have, but I have never seen an empty net goal as good as that one. the first of all, the effort he put in to make sure that wasn't icing, gets down there. There's 3 Bruins around him. That didn't matter to him. He outworked all of them, and then beat Pasternak, as Lindy said. Well, our scouting reporters, when Pasternak's in goal, has beat him 5-hole, which I thought was hilarious. And that's what he did. And I'm like, my jaw dropped. It was like, I have never seen an empty net goal that good. And, I understand how good a player Norris can be when he's right. Unfortunately, for the last X amount of years, he hasn't been right at all. And, he's had a couple of spurts where he's been able to get going, but he really hasn't. So, I'll fast forward to the off season. What do you do? It looks like you've got a replacement who's every bit as good or better. And what do you do with him? Your highest paid forward.
I'd like to have them both out there if he does get healthy. Riding with Lyon until he loses, Paul, or maybe not?
I would, yeah. I mean, when Lindy was alternating goaltenders in the regular season, it didn't matter if the goaltender got a shutout or whatever. I mean, Lyon shut out San Jose, and Luukkonen was in goal the next game because that's what they were doing. And Lindy kept talking about alternating goaltenders before that game, and I was thinking to myself, that's kind of maybe where we're headed here. I think he liked that so much. I think maybe he's going to start it again. But how can you? After what he did in that game, as I said, he got only one goal got by him, and it was a screen that he never saw. How can you not come back with him? I don't see how you can decide, well, I want to still alternate goaltenders. I think he's got to be in.
All right, that's where I'm at. I don't think it would be insane if he went back to Luukkonen just to, because he talks so much about the rotation, but I'd be hard-pressed. I mean, I just think some things in hockey have been true for many years for good reason. Like he was good, let's go back to him. So I think I'm expecting Lyon. We'll see what we end up getting. Yeah.
All right, so...
No, definitely I would expect him.
Yep. Practice tomorrow, right?
Yep, they'll be back on the ice tomorrow. I don't know if it'll be for a long period of time, but yeah, as I said, I don't even think the players had a film session. I could be wrong, but I don't think they did. I think just players who needed treatment got treatment, and that's it. And especially with two days in between games, Lindy kind of wanted them to have a day and rest and recover, and then let's get back on the ice on Saturday.
The Red Sox are in Baltimore, unfortunately, for anybody on the trip who might want to get to Fenway. I guess you can still go to Fenway.
Yeah, you just walk around Fenway or wherever.
Around.
So
there's a bar inside.
They do tours, I think.
Tours.
When the team's not at home.
But you've been.
I just had to make sure I got my clam chowder from my favorite place, and I did that for lunch. So that hit the spots, and then that was, as I said, time to get back here and hunker down.
Thanks for fitting us in, Paul. We'll talk to you again, I guess, Monday.
Okay, take care, guys.
All right, keep feeling better, bud. That's Paul Hamilton live in Boston. His appearance on WGR brought to you by Raylax Honda. Raylax, we got this.
Clam chowder, top soup? Rushmore? Mount Soup-more?
Rushmore. Yeah.
Got to be New England.
Yeah, same. Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
I bought some today.
Oh, yeah?
Also.
From the same place, Paul?
No.
That wouldn't make any sense.
Unless Paul was in the Falls. Quick turnaround.
Could have had it shipped. I don't know. All
right. No, I love it. Never made it.
I have.
Have you?
Yeah. I don't make it anymore, but I used to. I used to make pots of it. Seriously, like for a restaurant.
Okay.
So
you would know. You're an expert on this.
I had some experience with the cream soups.
It is a soup.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Like is chili a soup? It's a stew, right?
It's more stew than soup, yeah.
What's the difference? The meat? The beans?
Thickness.
The stuff?
Thickness, I think.
Soups can't have stuff?
My wife will make a tortellini soup out of a chicken base, and it's awesome, but once it sits, if it sits for the tortellini expands, and then it almost becomes like a stew. Because it's just the pasta thickens it up so much.
Maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's fine. It tastes delicious. It's always great. It just the consistency of it changes.
I see.
It changes from soup to almost stew-like.
Makes a lot of sense.
I can't bring myself to call it actually a stew, but it's stew-like.
We'll start to shift toward. Thank you. We'll start to shift toward the draft.
Stew adjacent.
Round 2 tonight. Sal Capaccio joins us at 6, and then draft coverage, I guess, resumes because it's one round in already tonight at 7. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, 803-0550. On what the Bills did, we haven't had a lot or spent a lot of time. I can't say it wasn't our choice, but haven't spent a lot of time on their night, which ended up being, no picks, but it'll start to heat up shortly after 7. Back after the update. Join us at 803-0550 if you like. This is WGR.
Opportunity to put the other guy back in if you want to. So I think you're still hoping that they can win this series eventually and keep going into a second round. I would expect Luukkonen to play again at some point, but
what's the scenario?
The scenario is you win game 4, you come home and Lyon lays an egg in game 5, and you say, okay, let's go back to the other guy.
How does that sound?
What do you mean? I think it sounds like I just said it. I think you just do it.
I mean, how does it sound? Like, how would it feel going into that game in that situation where now, and this is like, if he's going to play, that's the point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's like maybe a not the best case scenario necessarily, but up there would be that. I'm 3-2 up going to Boston, and Lions just had a bad game.
I think it's it's the same scenario we just saw play out here, I think. Right? With game 3. Luukkonen had a shaky game 2, and you saw fit to make the change, and you did. And I think if you want to treat the two guys as equals, which I think we should be doing, I think that's how the fact that Lyon went in, he didn't have to go in. I thought it was the right choice. Ruff did it, but it's the same logic that we just saw here. If you go back to Luukkonen after a bad outing by Lyon, I think it's 2 games further into the series. The stakes are a little higher, obviously, because they got a chance to tie the series at home. So there's more pressure there. But I think if you're going to treat them as equals, then that's one way that it happens. It doesn't have to happen at all.
That's 9 days off too,
right?
That would be what you'd want. I don't know. Like, there's always a but here. I think it's worth a discussion playing Luukkonen Sunday. Because really, that is your MO, is the back and forth. And we took a break from that, and Lyon was injured. Mm-hmm. So it was reasonable to do that. But I don't know if I want to just kind of count on, this is what my plan is, that Lyon is like, A1 day after game after game after game. You could do it, but I think you do want to think about how much time off the other guy gets. And for Lyon, it's been, it was a good amount, but he got a game in relief.
Right.
That helps probably a little bit. I don't know. Anything in this category can be probably overthinking. But I have loved about this team that they haven't had a Ryan Miller or a Dominic Hasek or a goalie that's just like the reason for it all. Somebody that you can't, if they're not on, you're going down. Like they don't, that's not the Sabres. Mm-hmm. And I think what I'd want to do is just not forget that and keep both guys going. It would be a ballsy move, Luukkonen, after last night. But I don't hate it.
I think it's
I don't hate it.
I think it's more possible that they do go back to Luukkonen than it was that he was going to play this game last night. Like, I'm going back to right after game 2. Right, game 2 ends, Lyon comes in relief. I'm pivoting to Lyon here. Like, to me, I was dug in on that. I don't know how easy or difficult a decision it was for them, but I thought, to me, this is the obvious thing to do. You've had the two guys all year. You've alternated. You stopped for a little while, and the other guy kind of bugged out here and gave up a 100-footer, and okay, let's use the other guy. To me, that was more obvious than using Lyon on Sunday would be. Do you follow that? I think it's more, the door is more open to me, in my mind, to pivot to Luukkonen because of everything you just said. And how Lindy sounded in setting up the fact that Lyon was going to get the net last night. I mean, he talked for 2 days about their, how they handled their season. And the interview we ran in pregame yesterday is him talking, all year we've used 3 guys, and it's worked for us. And it's one of the reasons why, we feel like we are where we are. We feel like it's a strength, that kind of stuff.
That's no less true today.
Right. So if he wants to really go all the way with that, then yeah.
Could you respect it?
Yes. It would not be my choice. I would use Lyon in Game 4, but I would not be like, oh, my God, what are you doing?
Well, if they do this, and I don't expect them to, Lyon is such the easy choice after last night because you really are.
Day 2 of the NFL Draft will get underway in just about an hour and a half, and the Bills still waiting to make their first selection of the 2026 draft following trading back 3 times yesterday, and now the Bills are scheduled to pick in the second round, 35th overall, and in the third round, 66th overall. The 49ers, though, will be the first team on the clock for round 2. They'll be on the clock at 7 p.m. Our coverage will begin at the exact same time. Nate Geary, Derek Kramer, and myself will have you covered throughout the evening, and draft coverage on this Odyssey Sports station is presented nationally by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. And for more on tonight, do stay tuned. Sal Capaccio will join the show in just about a half hour at 6. But before the draft gets underway, we do have some contract news as Green Bay has agreed to a 3-year extension for wide receiver Jaden Reed. It is worth $50.25 million, and it includes $20 million guaranteed. For the Sabres, it is a 2-1 series lead for Buffalo following yesterday's win. We'll now wait until Sunday for Game 4 in Boston, but something to keep an eye on for tomorrow. Head coach Lindy Ruff did say with the media that Josh Norris potentially could practice with the team tomorrow morning. For the latest on what was going on yesterday and today, Paul Hamilton does have a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. And in baseball today, Bisons host Columbus at 6:05. That can be heard on our sister station, the Bet 1520. Blue Jays have the Guardians in town, 7:07. Mets host the Rockies, 7:10. And the Yankees are in Houston versus the Astros at 8:10. It's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for West New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
Center now by Roy. Oh, and Forsberg went after Roy. Oh, he tried to get Roy. A chip shot. Now Esch goes after Roy, and Robert Esch has lost it. He has lost it. He's down 4-0, and he's blown his cool. He's flipped his lid.
I could maybe tell you everything there is to tell you about that one. Game 2, 2006, first round. 8-2, I think, would be the final score of that game. 5-0 after 1. My favorite goal is a Pominville goal, where maybe a little bit like Game 1 against Boston just now, goals in pretty short succession. And so the building is already on fire. Maybe it's 2-0, maybe it's even 3. And Pominville comes in on the right wing, and just a snapshot from maybe the top of the circle picks the corner. Just the crowd deafening. Boom. Love a good snapshot from the top of the circle, right? Just clean.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Goals from around the net when 8 people are standing there are fine too.
They count.
Aesthetically,
yes.
What's your favorite goal aesthetically? That might be mine. Just like a quick shot that beats the goalie. You don't get a lot of those anymore from distance.
Yeah, no, for
Without
sure.
a deflection.
Yeah, a clean. Zucker and Greenway came close last night. Both of them hit posts on shots that are, I think, Zucker's was from the other wing. Greenway's was from the same as the Pominville side as you're describing. I like those shots. And they are hard to come by without traffic because the goalies are so good at reading where you're going to shoot it by the launch angle of your stick and all this stuff that we've talked about intermittently here for a week or two. It's hard. That's why I like it, because when somebody you've really done something, at least we think you've really done something. It could be the goalie just missed it, which credit to you to an extent, but the best are like he's ready, he sees it, and it's just too good.
Yeah,
that's
perfect shot.
It's just so good. Yep.
Thompson has provided a few of those
for sure.
Pominville from Gaustad and McKee at 14:36 of the first period that night made it 4-0. Dumont makes it 5-0 with a power play goal in the final 14 seconds, and then that. And Esch is out of the game after just a few seconds after that fifth goal. 5 in one period will do it.
Yeah, usually in a playoff game, especially.
You could probably go nuts. Actually, he does. I'm wrong on the timing there, but anyway, great night. How about we just leave it at that?
It's fine.
20 years ago.
It was the beginning of them killing off the Flyers. Really, right? That's the second game. They have a high-scoring game later to eliminate them. Is that right? Game 6. And then the following October, kill them again in a regular season game, and then everybody gets fired.
Yep.
Bobby Clark, Ken Hitchcock. It's like, we're done here. You guys did not fix what clearly was ailing us in last year's playoffs, because this team is still running circles around us.
20 years ago today, actually, that game, as I look at it, April 24th.
The Esch flipped his lid. Yeah, wow, awesome. All right.
Here's Tony with us. Hi, Tony.
Hey, guys. I just want to talk about the job that I think Brandon Beane's done so far with the draft. Going back to the DJ Moore trade, if you look at his philosophy with the Stephon Diggs trade was that was their first-round pick. He considered that his first-round pick, that they had a first-round pick that year. It was Stephon Diggs. While it's kind of a flawed theory, there's a little bit of merit to it, and I want to apply it to this year's draft with DJ Moore. If you look at DJ Moore and consider him, say, their first-round pick, well, the second round they moved up from 26 to 3. The third round they moved up from 26 to 2. And the fourth round they moved up from 26 to 1. So if you consider all four of those things, I think it's just been an amazing job so far. The advancement of the rounds, the way they advanced each round, and you throw in DJ Moore to the mix, which I guess if you can do it with Stephon Diggs, you can also do it with DJ Moore. I think it's been almost brilliant.
Well, I'm also a fan. The only but I would offer on the DJ Moore, side of this analysis is no matter what else you do in the draft, and probably they're having traded the second affects how they've already played it in the draft, you could have gambled and gotten him for cheaper, I think. It sounded to me like he could even have been released, but as has been said many times, and it's fine, this way you get to know you have him on your team. So the Bills took that risk, and last night they did the thing that I think absolutely was called for. I thought they would if they could, because it's not a given, especially in a weaker draft, that anybody will want to dance with you. And as it happens, the Bills found 3 dance partners.
Yeah, I guess you can. I was thinking about this morning, and I support the moving down. I said for weeks here, my favorite idea would be Arizona coming up from 33 to get back in to get the quarterback, but the Rams ruined that when they took him at 13, Simpson from Alabama. So that was off the table. But I love the idea of trading down because of just the way the prospects were described and the pockets within the whole group of everyone who will be picked. It seems like there's a good enough plateau right where the Bills have got at least an extra pick that they didn't have before they started moving down, if not 2 now. So good. I want to stop short of completely. He's done great so far, but he hasn't picked anyone. Like he's gonna need to pick players that are gonna help them. Like even though you're not picking in premium spots, I mean the reason you move down is to get more kicks at it, more guys that you like in that range where the prices are, a little less exorbitant. And if you don't think there was anyone worthy of the pick, then that's what you should do. But I don't know. It sounds like the guy's ready to give him an A or a gold star. And good job navigating not overspending, But now you're going to have to get some stuff right. And, those are dart throws, and you've got more darts to throw because of what you've done here. But you got to get some guys that are going to help this team now. So, I mean, and we don't know what, hopefully they do that. And but I don't want to overdo congratulations, you moved down, you're so smart. You got to get good players now. Like that's the job. That's the other part of the job. I'd say the more important part of the job than acing this test.
That's all fair. I think draft grades that other people find ridiculous until years go by, which I happen to find ridiculous because who needs draft grades when years go by? I find them useful, and they really have to be about process. And I know that's kind of become a cliche, but they really have to be about process. And we're not going to know who we've got here after this weekend in terms of how they're going to turn out. They do also still have only 2 picks tonight. Like they have 7 tomorrow, starting with the first pick of the day tomorrow, unless there's more movement. There's probably not a lot more they can do tonight. I mean, it's mathematically it's tough to use Saturday picks to
get
move
back
into Friday.
Yeah.
Unless it's like mid to late third, and you're talking about 2 of your Saturday picks for that. So there might be one other pick possibly happening tonight. I wouldn't expect it to be more than that. And then when you add it all up, yes, DJ Moore as well, but you have a second and a third tonight, both early in their respective rounds. And, think about what your hit rate might be for an early second or an early third. They're okay. It happens. I like for this, and this is part of the, calculus also, maybe this always happens, from 26 to 35, we're talking about a lot of the same names.
That's right.
And that's what you'd want, unless they're, Bills are out on Caden McDonald or C.J. Allen or Denzel Boston, whoever it might be. There's others, guys we've talked a lot about that are still on the board for them. And they'll get one of them if they want to.
Cassius Howell is still out there.
Cassius Howell and McDonald, I think I would say I saw mocked to them more than any other players.
I agree.
So they'll have a pretty good chance of getting one of them.
Yep, you'd think, if they stay there.
Yep.
But the first thing I saw this morning was a report from Jordan Schultz saying that San Francisco, who's in between Arizona and the Bills, are all receiving calls. So we'll see if they stay. See if they stay put. My guess is that they will.
Me too.
I do think maybe they'll. You said it'll be hard. I could see them trying to put a 4th and a 5th together to try to get another 3rd or something, right? They've got 3/4 and 2/5 now, I think, is what they're sitting on. Mm-hmm. So, you can probably, getting the 2nd probably too rich. But maybe they come out of tonight with 3 players and use some of the capital that they bought by trading down 3 times yesterday to get, another player in the pocket of the plateau where maybe the prospects are all comparable.
I think they'd have to trade 35 to do that. Maybe 66, but I think they'd have to trade 35 to do that, which they could do. But I wouldn't. You're saying the same. I wouldn't expect it.
No.
We were talking to Ross Tucker earlier about trading down, the merits of it, and like the philosophy. The morning show has spent a lot of time today included on this, especially today because the Bills literally did it 3 times in the first round last night. And I mentioned a few things that Jeremy has said that you might have heard. He was listening to our conversation with Ross, and one point that Ross made is like when you trade down, it sort of takes your ego out of the formula because you're not assuming that a certain player is going to be. And Jeremy said something to the opposite effect to me, which was like, well, what gets you more credit than trading down? All you have to do is do it. And everybody applauds you for being so smart.
That's sort of what I'm pushing back against a little bit here. Like, I don't want to have a celebration yet. You still got to pick some guys.
That's right. I just don't think maybe it's as one-sided as Jeremy might think or anyone else might think in terms of trading up or trading. We have the conversation every year. The Bills seem to usually do one or the other with their first pick. How many times have they just sat there and made their pick? Not that many times. And so we're always having this conversation, and plenty of people support trading up for Kincaid. You got to get your guys, It's just that. And they don't have to be wrong. But I like to look at it as you don't know what you're getting. Give yourself more opportunities to get good players. And they did that last night and still will get a player tonight if they don't trade again that a lot of people would have mocked to them, at 26. And he'll cost less than he would if they'd picked him at 26.
Wanted the fifth-year option. But, yeah, other than that, yep.
Sal's going to join us at 6 to set up tonight. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here at 803-0550. This is WGR. Tony and the crew at Empire. They just keep playing and playing and playing.
We got a little sun going on out there.
It's nice out.
Yeah, let's get on that.
Columbus again. They won again yesterday. And cool that, I guess, Toronto is hosting Cleveland with the farm teams also playing each other right now.
All right.
Scherzer for the Blue Jays tonight. Still going. The Mets and the Red Hot Mets. 2 straight hosting Colorado.
Okay,
They're back.
Missed that. Good for them.
Soto back. Yeah. Mets are back. Yeah. You know who's not back, or he is back?
The Red Sox are in last place. That's not going great.
Red Sox at Orioles.
Yeah.
You know who is back in more ways than one? Who? Jason Botterill. Did you happen to watch the 2 minutes today?
I did.
You don't want to bang on him.
I like whatever. We had a good relationship when he was here, and I still get whatever. I text him and he texts me back. We have a relationship. It was very
painful.
Hard to watch.
It's just so painful.
Very hard.
I mean, it really is not that hard. I think to just sit there and spew out all the lines about your season and what you were proud of and what was disappointing.
Yeah.
But he very familiar to say how they went 10-5-2 in January.
Yeah.
Like, great. Wow.
Yeah. Right.
Awesome. Wow.
Yeah, I had a hard time with that. I didn't know what.
He's like reading it.
Right. He wrote it. It was written down, and it certainly seemed that way. I mean, I didn't see the notes, but he kept looking down at it, and it certainly seemed like he was reading. I kept thinking there was going to be some other some bomb at the end of it because it just sounded so dire.
You can't. I mean, it happens. You can't have your GM sound lost, right? I mean, Kevin Adams didn't ever sound lost.
Well, he said some not
that's
very
different.
Smart things, but that's right.
That's different.
Yep.
And we all do that. But, man, he's not the least bit convincing, Botterill, and he never was here either. I mean, we sat with him. He often struggled to, spit it out. So I think that's a really tough thing for an organization if your leader among hockey people really can't. Sometimes we've talked about this with Sean McDermott, other people over the years. They know what they don't want to say. I mean, there's traps waiting everywhere for. I mean, take Adams, for example. What he said had truth in it and, ended up really backfiring on him because it wasn't the point he thought he was making. And he was like, oh, okay, well, you don't really like your guys and you can't replace them. What's your job here exactly?
Right.
So that happens, but Botterill just seems to struggle so badly to get the message across. And sometimes that's just because there's so many things in your head that you don't want to say. And then you can just get completely tied up. So, I don't know. It was tough to watch, though.
It really was. I watched every second of it and was cringing the whole time. It was a hard watch.
He's with Seattle, if you didn't
Seattle.
know.
He's the GM of Seattle. And they're doing like a whole top-to-bottom audit of the organization. I woke up to, is it Ted Lewicki? That's a name from Toronto days. I think he's out there now. And like, oh, no, Botterill's fine. But we're going to look at everything else.
Okay. Sal next, out at the stadium. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Rounds 2 and 3 of the NFL Draft in Pittsburgh coming up in just about an hour, and we'll see when the Bills do make their first selection of the 2026 draft. As following trading back 3 times yesterday, the Bills are currently scheduled to pick in the second round at 35th overall and the third in at 66th overall, but we will see. The 49ers, though, will get the ball rolling for round 2 right at 7 p.m. That is when our coverage as well will begin. Nate Geary, Derek Kramer, and myself will have you covered throughout the evening. And draft coverage on this Odyssey Sports Station is presented nationally by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. And for more on tonight, do stay tuned. We'll talk with Sal Capaccio coming up next. But before the draft gets going, Green Bay, they have agreed to a 3-year contract extension for wide receiver Jaden Reed worth $50.25 million, and it does include $20 million guaranteed. For the Sabres, it is a 2-1 series lead for Buffalo following yesterday's win. We now wait until Sunday for Game 4 in Boston. Something to keep an eye on, though, especially for tomorrow. Head coach Lindy Ruff said with the media earlier today that Josh Norris could practice tomorrow after missing yesterday's game with an injury. And speaking of Game 4, do join Brian Cozy and Owen Parker live this Sunday from 11 to 2 p.m. at Hamburg Tap Room for pregame coverage of Game 4 and more. It's presented by Neutral Vodka Seltzer. Keep it tasty this playoff season. With the playoffs, we've got 3 games tonight. Montreal hosts Tampa at 7. Vegas is in Utah versus the Mammoth at 9:30. Then at 10, Oilers are at Anaheim. All of those series are tied at 1 game apiece. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
I never did sing the Barry Manilow song for you, but I've had it in my head all day since it came up.
See, I can't have it in my head because I don't know it by name.
Weekend in New England is the song.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll pop it in when you get in your truck to leave.
That also probably will not happen, but I would like a resolution on whether I know the song. I'll bet I do.
Yes, I bet you do too.
I'm just daring you to just.
How many Barry Manilow songs could you name?
Mandy.
Mandy, yep.
Copacabana.
Big hit.
Love that song.
You love that song?
I do. I love.
That's interesting.
I love the song Copacabana. I can't remember the last time it's come on in a car I was riding in, but I would definitely sing along with it if it came on. It just came on the radio on a family road trip. I'm singing.
I love it.
I do too.
I write the songs.
Sure. Okay.
Which
good.
he didn't write.
Right.
Let's get to the draft. It's a big night. Sal Capaccio with us now on the Western Hotline. Sal, did you see this? The Steelers GM called Mekhi Lemon to tell him that they were drafting him, and Philadelphia traded up and did it instead? Is that what happened?
Yeah, was it the GM specifically? Maybe, but yes, I did see it. I watched it, and it's a bad look. It's right in your own backyard. The draft is in Pittsburgh, right? I mean,
yeah,
it's terrible.
What I saw the footage of him on the phone with someone from Pittsburgh. I'm not sure if it says in the footage I saw that it is Omar Khan, but I know he's on the phone with someone. From Pittsburgh, and then like his family's all like, "You're going to be a Steeler." I mean, that's not what they said, but they think he's being picked by Pittsburgh. What happened logistically? Like, did the Steelers call him too soon, and then Philly traded up ahead of them? And is that what happened?
That's what it's read like.
I couldn't really figure out what the mistake Pittsburgh made was calling the player too soon, basically.
Apparently, yeah, because so you guys know how picks get tipped, right? Like how sometimes people are way early to know who's taking whom. You're like, how do they know that? Like, what's going on? Well, years ago, when I was doing a show one night down here, like a TV show, I saw and I learned, this is, I think back when we had the John Murphy show at night, to be honest with you, and I was on there. And I didn't realize how it works. And I got a bit of an education that night, which is the people who are doing like the embedded, the NFL people, the teams, the NFL networks and things like that, they are tipped to the picks like 3 picks early so they can prep all of their video and everything. Like what you see on TV is actually like 3 picks behind the cards are actually handed in. So I'm putting 2 and 2 together here. My guess is knowing that, like, because I remember being on that TV show, like I knew like who was getting picked at 13 when it was only on 10, on the screen, but you couldn't say anything. You weren't allowed to because that was not your role, right? It wasn't your job. You just kind of had to wait for it, but they were prepping video behind the scenes. So my guess is they knew that. They're okay, well, we're going to be on the clock here. And in some capacity, they kind of just got twisted on the timing, and one of the cards hadn't been turned in yet, and the Philadelphia Eagles jumped ahead of them and took the guy.
It's even, I think, realistic that Dallas could have also picked Lemon at 20 because of the George Pickens speculation. Maybe they'd want to bring a receiver in, but they ended up drafting a defensive end. Sal, I'm sure you've talked about it plenty today already. What is your estimation of what went down, no pun intended, with the Bills last night, the 3 trades? I know you tweeted recently about, the possibility that a player or 2 they would have picked were not there.
I did, but I think what I tweeted was I think it's easy to assume that. I think there's too much assumption on that today, Mike. I think there's too many people thinking, well, they must have just really liked Thieneman or Concepcion and they weren't there. I think this is more about the Texans. Look what the Texans gave up. From what I understand, they really wanted Rutledge to pair with. Remember, they signed Wyatt Teller. They have had a lot of issues on offensive line. The Texans really wanted Rutledge, and they also knew, apparently, or thought that a couple of teams were sniffing around him, and they liked this kid a lot. So they paid a premium to go up and get him. Now, could it also be true that the Bills thought maybe they'd get Concepcion? I guess there was a report out there that maybe they even basically, offered a trade up for him. I guess so. I mean, sure. Thieneman, sure. I don't dismiss that. I just think this is more about the Texans because, as you guys know, I have said for a while, I think the Bills are looking to trade down anyway. So unless they were super in love with one of those guys and they went and they go, oh, my God, let's just do something. I think this was, hey, we're willing to move down. And then when the Texans get there and they go, and the Bills get to 26, and the Texans are like, hey, dude, we really want this kid. All right, well, what are you willing to pay? Because we got a couple other teams sniffing around too.
Yeah. Well, I'm totally fine with all that because as much as I might have liked to see them pick Casey Concepcion, giving up anything in this year's draft to move up a couple of spots, I think would have really freaked me out. Like if he falls to you there and you're like, all right, well, we love this guy and it might not be our biggest need, but like, okay, let's do it. Like I can get with that. If you needed to do what they did to get Kincaid in this draft, I think I would much rather they choose the path they chose, which was move down and try to get more in between, the beginning of round 2 and the end of, round 3, which, they at least accomplished to some degree. They've got 2 picks there now, which, right, it's only the 2. That's what they had. But they got all that other stuff, the 4th and the 5th.
They were out of round 2 until last night. Now they're into round 2, but they're out of round 1.
Right.
So it's
right, but the difference is they moved up an incredible number in the third round. Right. They were at the back end, now they're at the front end.
That's right.
They have the 3rd pick tonight in the 2nd round, the 2nd pick in the 3rd round, and the 1st pick of the 4th round, which kicks off our Saturday. I mean, they're at the top of each of these rounds. The other reason why, let's say they did call Cleveland about Casey Concepcion, it doesn't have to be about him. They're calling about the pick, right? They're not telling them who they're taking. So you could also just be peeking in to see what the going rate is for 24 right now, right? Like, we're thinking about trading 26. What are they looking for 24? And you kind of use that as intel to kind of make your deal at 26.
Yeah. What's the economy like out there? Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, as we've said a lot today, they sit with the 3rd pick of the 2nd round, and there are several players that we spent serious time on and paid serious attention to in the last month or two. That if they picked these players, any of them at pick 26, it would have, at least been okay. It would have seemed like good value. So they'll do a little bit better value-wise if they pick from this list. Cassius Howell, Sal, Katie McDonald, a couple players that we've spent a lot of time on, still available here going into Friday night.
Well, Caden McDonald's the player that I mocked to them yesterday, so I'm going to keep with that. I think that he's a fit at 26, at 28, at 31, or at 35. What's the difference to me? You're getting the same guy.
It's an even better fit at 35 than he was at 26.
That's exactly right. So you're getting a great value on a player like that. If they go and get that guy who I had at 26, okay, let's roll. I mean, I think that's a really good job by Brandon Beane. And then, sure, there are definitely other players. I think so I think Caden McDonald is very much, to me, in the mix here. I think another guy at that position, Kristen Miller from Georgia, is very much in the mix here. Cassius Howell, you mentioned. Zion Young, I think, could be a guy that they could like a lot. And then at linebacker, I think that's percolating. Now we get here.
Yeah, I'm seeing
a little
that
bit
name a
more
lot.
on the
Jacob
hey, you know
Rodriguez,
what?
right?
Yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy. Last night in the media room, that was the guy that a lot of people were kind of focusing on and really liked. You know what he said at the Combine? I think Josh Reed even asked him at the Combine, who do you model your game after? He said, Matt Milano, the Buffalo Bills. Really interesting, right? So, you don't have Milano anymore. So, and could you go safety, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren? Sure. I mean, I think a lot of possibilities are here and opened up because of where you are value-wise. But, man, some of those guys we talked about are still there. Even Denzel Boston, obviously, the wide receiver.
That safety he's not a direct comp, but people are making the comp to Emin Worry from last year, and I loved Emin Worry so much. This guy's not he's big, he's long, but he's lighter. He's like 6'4", 200, yep. I think is what I read. I don't know if that changed. Maybe I'm looking at an old listing. So if I'm off on the weight, correct me, please, if you know different. But it's athletically, it's an intriguing idea for this new defense, I think.
And listen, if they wanted to go safety, even last night when Thiemann was there, when we were talking about it in the media room, and I've been off of safety for the simple fact that they signed C.J. Gardner-Johnson to a $6 million deal. They have Cole Bishop. But if you could certainly talk me into, look, they can use three guys on the field at once with this new defense and hybrids and guys that can, as Jim Leonard said, he works with guys who don't fit in the box really well, and he likes those guys. So, okay, if you can use that guy and then, see what happens with C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and after 1 year, if you have to, wave him goodbye because, hey, we got you for 1 year, what most teams do, and he moves on, then you have a nice safety tandem and pairing for the next several years with McNeil-Warren in this case and Cole Bishop. Sure, I could definitely see something like that.
Do you have any inkling on what happens in front of the Bills tonight with San Francisco and Arizona? 2 years ago with Keon Coleman, we were just totally locked in on the speculation because the Bills were first up in that second round. Have you considered the Niners and Cardinals?
I think from what we're hearing that Denzel Boston's going to go to one of these teams, maybe. I guess the Niners would be most likely maybe here. I think Matt Miller tweeted something about that, like he won't be on the board by the time it gets to the Bills because he was kind of confused why some Bills fans didn't want him, or a lot of Bills fans were telling him they didn't want him. He's like, well, it won't matter. He's going to be gone. So I think he has got some intel about that. So I'm guessing he's going to be gone. And then, not sure. The Jeremiah Love pick was interesting. It was always Bailey, Reese, and Love. Those three were going after Mendoza. We just didn't know which order, and we got it, right? So there you go. There's Jeremiah Love, going to the Arizona Cardinals. I think did Reese go fourth, if I remember right?
Tate
I think he
went
might
fourth.
have.
But
Tate went fourth. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So
Bailey and Love. So 2 out of the 3. I'm sorry, but you're right. So there you go. Love to the Cardinals is interesting. He's a really, really good player. Would they go wide receiver with Boston? I'm not sure. So maybe they go defense. Maybe they go O-line here before the Bills pick.
what did you think of Ty Simpson?
I think it's super interesting. I don't love it what they did. I say from the standpoint of I'm kind of confused. He doesn't seem like he's considered by most, to be that high level of a prospect to go 13th overall. All it takes is one team. I know the Rams have pretty much operated as a pretty, smart organization over the last several years. And, you can give them the benefit of the doubt, but they are a team that also should be looking maybe to win one last time before sending Matt Stafford off into the sunset and add around their team. They have a good roster. But the point was made today, and I heard, it's a good one. Matt Stafford still had a great year last year, won league MVP with the roster he had. They're looking out for, let's make this transition as smooth as possible. I was confused. The other part of why I was confused, though, Mike, was it seemed like at the press conference when I watched it today, when McVay and Snead were up there, it didn't seem like they were typically their joyous selves with each other. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who knows? Remember when the Patriots made that pick? Was it Cole Strange the one year? And
yes.
The Rams were having their news conference. They both just started laughing almost. But, like Ross Tucker said, McVay would want to be careful not to seem too excited about, drafting a quarterback.
Yeah.
The first chance he gets after, his quarterback's won the MVP. I guess Who knows about the player? Most people like you say it's early for him, but I feel like the Rams can defend the move. I mean, Stafford is old. Last year in the summer, we were wondering if he was even going to play. And so he's near the end. I think it's defensible. And the Rams, they've won a lot, and they have done some interesting things with their picks. They've also drafted great, gotten great results later. Was their defense, they just put right back together with a lot of, winning draft picks. All right, well.
Do you know the other part about this is really, I didn't know this until last night. I didn't realize Ty Simpson's dad is the head coach at UT Martin, and his dad and Les Snead are very good friends.
Yeah. That was adding fuel to the speculation that it was not a McVay's favorite idea.
Yes.
The GM did it. But we will see, or we won't. I don't know. I don't know which it'll be.
Time will continue. That we know.
Yes, let's hope. Sal, what's the scene there, and how will you be contributing tonight?
Well, last night we had great food from Mulberry delivered. Tonight they just showed up with some bar bills, so there we go. We're gonna have that in the media room tonight. As opposed to last night, we had the Sabres game on, and the Bills. It was really nice by them. They put it on the big board, like at the press conference table there, that digital board. They put it on the big screen. Had the draft on one TV. I had the iPad going with the Yankees game, so we were able to watch everything. And then everything was happening with the trades, so that was cool. That's not going to be tonight. The case. The draft starts at 7:00, and I expect the Bills will draft at 35, but I wouldn't be stunned if they move down. What I do think, though, is they could definitely take one of those fourth-round picks, especially the very early one, the first one tomorrow, and try to move back into tonight and maybe have 3 picks overall.
And they won't be putting Canadians Lightning on the big board, you think, probably, with the sound up?
I don't think they'll put it on the big board, but I bet you will have that on the TV or one of the NBA playoff games.
Right. Very good. Sal, thanks for your time today. Enjoy the night and the weekend.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
There you go. That's Sal Capaccio on the Wester Hotline. His appearances are always brought to you by New York's only outlet Liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet?
Celtics Sixers at 7 on Prime. Canadians Lightning on TNT.
Correct.
Phillies Braves on Apple. Really? 7:15.
I believe you. I believe you.
Spirit versus Current on Prime, women's soccer.
All right.
Lakers Rockets on Prime. Look at Prime. When you're Prime, you don't have to have just one channel limit you. You just put everything on. It's all right there.
Yes, sir. I'd never, ever, ever think to watch anything else on Prime besides Al and Kirk Herbstreit, the Thursday night games. I don't ever go in there and think like, oh, let's see what's what kind of show. Any of the ads they ever show for shows that are going to be that I see during these football games, I just think I would need someone to brain me like right through and through in the skull with like an ice pick to get me to sit down and watch one of these Prime shows that I see advertised.
Late NBA on Prime.
I'm a big fan.
How is Al? I wonder.
You're the one who's got his phone number.
He's probably fine. He's just somewhere eating steak, having a good day. Also, hockey later, Vegas and Utah, that's TNT. Edmonton, Anaheim is TBS. You don't get the CBC or the Sportsnet feed, do you?
No. During the regular season on ESPN Plus, they give you that option. But now that the playoffs are here, that's it. The only option is the local if you get it, like MSG, or the national American carriers. So I'm out of the Gord Miller and Chris Cuthbert business for now.
Chris Cuthbert's in Montreal tonight. Soccer tomorrow morning. Do you want the rundown? USA, NBCSN. We don't get those channels.
I need Peacocks. Anything on
Peacock at 12:30. Arsenal. I hate to wait.
I'm going to sit around all day. No, I need 7, 10 at the latest for soccer.
Absolutely.
I can't. 12:30.
We're deprived of our.
I'm into
soccer.
my day on a Saturday at 12:30. I can't be sitting.
Whatever that means.
Usually means I'm going to a bar.
Sam Panayotovich with us Fridays, talking about the playoffs, the Sabres odds, series-wise, and more. Also, some NFL draft with Sam. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. This is WGR.
today, yeah, it's Friday, Friday.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
We so excited, we gonna have a ball today. Tomorrow is Saturday.
I'm itching inside. My liver's all twisted up. But you know what I did? I took Deborah, went to the liquor store. I loaded up with alcohol, more specifically vodka, whiskey, beer, tequila, more beer, more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
Looking forward to the weekend. Day was Thursday. Today, yeah, it's Friday, Friday.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
We so excited, we gonna have a ball today. Tomorrow is Saturday.
I'm itching inside. My liver's all twisted up. But you know what I did? I took Deborah, went to the liquor store. I loaded up with alcohol, more specifically vodka, whiskey, beer, tequila, more beer, more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.